Sakura, Sky, and Loki.
This week, a new challenger has arrived as Amazon enters the gaming arena, and they're not coming alone. Sonic has been rebooted again, but this time exclusively by the West, for the West. We've heard the uproar from the internet, but we'll take your comments on the show where every gamer has a voice.
Orange Lounge Radio.
Hello, my friends out there on the internet, and welcome back to another week of the show where every gamer has a voice. It is Orange Lounge Radio for this episode number 539, February the 9th, 2014. My name is Rob Roberts, and I'm here with you guys over the next few hours to talk about video games, gaming culture, and the gamer lifestyle with my co-hosts. Say hello to the one and only Dark Soccer, or Jamie Summers.
Sup, bitches?
How you doing? Is that your new tagline? You said that last week, too.
I didn't say it last week. I said it the week before.
Oh, well.
I said sup, bitches in chat, though.
After 539 episodes, they start to blur together a little bit.
It's because you're old.
Yeah, a little
and
bit.
I'm older.
Yeah, I had that realization. We do tape live every Sunday night at the Voice of Geeks Network, VxJasonxV.com, 6 o'clock Pacific, 9 o'clock Eastern, right after the Bobby Blackwolf show. And I had the realization that I'm getting old listening to last week's Bobby Blackwolf show. He had a great interview where they were talking about BBS door games, and they were talking about like this whole tech history, and I'm just thinking in the back of my mind, like, I was there, dude. I called all those BBSs too, dude. I played those door games, dude. And it was so weird kind of hearing them talk about it. Like, it was like, this was the best. They described it. One of them, the guest he had was describing it like, well, it was kind of like Facebook, but you dial into it. And I just did this thing where it's like, no, I mean, I get it. Like, I wasn't like making fun of it or whatever, but it was just one of those things where I was just like, oh my God, like he's having to explain it. Because most of the listeners we have are teenagers and young 20-somethings that literally were too young to remember calling into BBSs. And I'm just thinking like, Rob, you're too old. You're never too old, dang it.
Muds.
Oh, yeah, Muds were fun, too.
People still do them.
I got into those in college. Yeah, they are still around.
No. It was all about AOL in 1994 and playing Gemstone.
Going to the chat room over at live.vognetwork.com. Let's see. Somebody had said something about there it is. Havoc978 said old lounge radio. Yes, that is probably appropriate for tonight. Well, speaking of old familiar faces, guess what? A face we've been missing for the past couple weeks is back with us tonight. Say hello, everybody, to Techmaster Loki.
Yeah, sadly I'm not there in face-to-face, but over Skype still.
That's right. Loki is still joining us via the Skype line, and yes, I know. We part of our whole shtick is that we're all in the same room, and we will get back to that soon. But Loki, obviously, your wife just had the baby. 2 weeks ago at this point? So there's
almost
still
3 weeks. Yeah.
There's still a lot of adjustment going on, and so it'll be another couple weeks before you're back, right?
Yeah, I wanted to come back this week, but, she's still not healed enough to be able to lift the car carrier and the baby at the same time, so... Fair enough. I have to be here to lift the baby out of the car.
So when we told Loki he needs to take all the time he needs for the baby, we meant it. So we will take Loki over Skype over no Loki at all. And he can't see us make faces at him here in studio. Making a face at Loki right now, say hello, everybody, to I'm just kidding. I'm just starting crap. Say hello, everybody, to Jason. Neener. I'm sitting in your chair. How you doing, Jason?
I'm doing pretty good.
And you guys, actually, we say welcome back, Loki, but this week we actually say goodbye for now, Jason. I know, it's sad, right?
It's been a very interesting 3.5 months, or however long it's been. I can't even remember at this point.
Yeah, you've been out. So those of you guys that haven't been following, Jason has been out here he was in San Francisco for work for about the past 3 months, but you are now going on your way back home to Colorado.
I have to go say hello to the snow.
Yeah,
I'd say this rain this week is a pretty proper send-off.
Yeah, we finally got
so overcast this week.
Finally got some stinking rain. I'm glad you could see what it looks like when it rains here, because literally the entire time you've been here, it has not rain.
It's funny. It actually really reminds me of. I realized this on the drive up here. It's crazy to think that my first time coming back to California as an adult was for my interview in 2012. How old was I in 2004? What does adulthood count as? 18.
Yeah, when I first met you, you were only like 19 or 20.
Okay, so I guess I was just barely adult for
Take
E3.
your age now and subtract 10. That was 10 years ago.
18. So yeah, just on the cusp.
Yeah.
Well, no, it was in June, so it was a month before my birthday.
You were 17 when you were here the first
That
time?
sounds really strange.
That
yeah,
does
that
sound
doesn't
really
make
strange.
85. Oh, no. I was 18 turning 19. So anyways,
You don't even know your own age?
No, well, I
That's a sign of getting old.
I base it from my birthday forward instead of my age backward, even though it literally was 10 years ago. Whatever. So I was out in California for 2004 for E3 and all the other festivities that happened that week. I had not been back to California since then, of course. And so 2012, when I come back for my interview, the conditions that it was on the drive today was actually very, very similar. More intense, more rain. The entirety of, at least, from San Francisco, from the Bay Area north. The quick version of the story, because I don't think I've ever told it on the show, is that I don't fly. So, not anymore. So, I came to California via bus. The bus made it, we had a bunch of trouble getting over the Sierra Nevadas. We made it into Sacramento, and on the way to San Francisco, the window on the door was flapping out of place.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
and so we got as far as Vacaville, and they were going to turn the bus around and have us just be stuck in Sacramento, at least as far as our final destinations were concerned. My only regret is that since we stopped at a Home Depot to get duct tape, and they taped up the window to the door in 3 places, my only unfortunate coincidence there is that I did not get a picture of it because my phone was dying, and I was keeping in touch with my now employers that I was going out there for an interview with. And that was a pretty
that was
crazy
dying
weekend.
for a tweet to corporate.
It was
that situation. We will get
Greyhound.
We will get to video games in just a moment, but since it is a bit of a sentimental show of sorts, with Jason saying goodbye for now, Tiger Claw in chat says, "Watch Jason be back for next week's OLR via Skype."
Well, I'll be driving this time next week, so not so much.
Sayal says Jason will get snowed in and have to stay. Well, it won't snow here, but maybe up the mountain.
That's not an impossibility either.
Yeah, that happened to you once.
Oh yes, it's happened a number of times.
So, well, you are more than welcome to crash and co-host anytime. I don't know about the Skype thing because we're actually trying to get away from that. Babies are a special circumstance, but you are more than welcome in the studio anytime.
I can always call in towards the end, and of course, I will be back for numerous occasions, I hope.
So Jason always has a place here at the table, and quite a huge compliment here from Tiger Claw. If there is enough demand, VxJasonxV should be a recurring co-host on OLR. I like that whole "if there is enough demand." No, you're always welcome here. So
I have interesting ideas, and it's really just a matter of time and also being able to do it regularly, reliably, and correctly.
Yes, ideally, we would take Jason's very dulcet tones and have him head up a news show for potentially the Voice Geeks Network. Hint, hint. So
stop spoiling it, Rob.
I will. I'll stop. All right. Let's get into tonight's kickoff topic. We got to take it back to video games here, and we're going to start off with a whopper, and I'm going to just give this disclaimer in advance. I know some of you guys out there are probably sick to death of hearing about this game, but it's very rare when a video game goes all the way to CNN and the national news and makes these types of headlines. And we've really got to get into the what the heck is going on. Dark Soccer, if you wouldn't mind starting us off tonight with a little discussion on a mobile game that's gone insane.
Flappy Bird. Whatever the hell fuck bird that is. So yeah. And I'm sure everyone already knows, but I don't care. I'm going to tell you again. Basically, the developer, Dong Nguyen, basically said that he's done. No more. He can't take it anymore. And so as of now, Flappy Bird is off of the iOS store, off the App Store. You can't get it anymore. And so I got it before it went down, but I'm not going to play it. I just happened to get it so that I could have it in case.
And so you kind of contributed to the problem. Let's
but they're not getting any ad revenue off of me.
Fair enough.
No ad revenue off of this girl.
Okay, before we get into the why did he stop, let's go back even further, because Flappy Bird isn't a game that just came out last week. This game's been out for months, and then all of a sudden, for some unexplainable reason, this is the going viral on the internet in the truest sense of the word. It's just people tell other people and so on. This game just catches wildfire. It is everywhere, literally everywhere. And why? Flappy Bird isn't exactly that great. I mean, but to be fair, I mean, yeah, I've downloaded Flappy Bird. I've played it. It does have that certain addictive quality, that frustrating. Just one more. I can go just one more. You know, it is that nice little bite-sized game that makes for a decent mobile experience. I see a lot of people razzing the heck out of Flappy Bird for its possible rip-off ideas and so forth, and I'm not going to try to defend that. But I will say this. But it doesn't even really play like Mario. But anyway, here's the thing. 98% of the things on iTunes and Google Play and all the stuff that's available for mobile phones, 98% of it's garbage. Most mobile phone games are garbage. Yeah. There's very few games that are borderline decent, that are decent gaming experiences. And I think some of us are getting sick and tired of them trying to shove gaming experiences into the iPhone or the Android devices that aren't working, like Final Fantasy VI. Stop!
At least in the manner that you did it, and not like Final Fantasy IV DS, which was, well, not a mobile phone game, but done correctly, in my opinion.
So the only games that are really working for me as mobile phone games are little short bite-sized games like this, I guess, even though its quality is questionable, and like social games. I think, the DS and the Vita, as far as portable gaming go, neither one of them do the social elements particularly well. I mean, they both have their things. DS has street passing that's getting more and more and so forth. But, neither one has the behemoth that is Word with Friends or Quiz Up, which I think is a fun little trivia app that's pretty
never heard of
dumbly simple. It's not bad. It's like a free little trivia app. It's trivia with friends, basically.
You mean like what I go to the pub for?
Yeah. I mean, don't take these things seriously. They're mobile phone games. There's very few creme de la creme games. There, for every Infinity Blade, there's 100 million thousand needles, or something like rip-off types of things or something. You know what I mean? It's just, yeah. So, Loki, you're awfully quiet over there. Surely you have an opinion on Flappy Bird and this whole thing.
I tried it this week just to see what the hell it was, and I was like, okay, this is stupid. And just hearing about the ad revenue and stuff, I don't know if it's necessarily that people are getting on him, because let me put it this way: even if he takes his game offline, people are not going to stop bothering this guy. So that doesn't seem like the reason to me. It's more like I guess we're going to go the conspiracy theory route, that he's getting a cease and desist for some sort of copying of assets and stuff in the game, or he just taking it down for the whole sense that people are going to want it more because they can't have it, and so people will go seek it out. And hell, with an APK for Android, you just go download that off the internet. You don't need to have it off of the Google Play Store. He's still going to collect ad revenue on every single copy that's out there for that. So I don't know. It's just ridiculous, I think.
Here's the thing about the pipes look like they're from Mario Brothers to me. Like, I'm not going to defend it. Like, yes, they look like they're from Mario Brothers. But again, on 98% of mobile phone games, something was stolen from something else, and the assets are very heavily inspired by other games. That's not news. And when a news website, like, say, a particular favorite gaming blog of mine that starts with a K, goes to write a big article about, did Flappy Bird steal its assets from Super Mario Brothers?
Retarded, yeah. What about the other? They showed another game. There's a Flash game that basically is the very same premise and almost the same, not assets, but like the way they had everything laid out.
Whether he did or not, like 98% of the mobile phone games do, and I feel like they're just stealing this guy's success for hits. Nothing normal or nothing abnormal for them. So, Brad from Pod Culture in our chat room over at live.vognetwork.com says, "Wham, my game is popular. I'm taking my ball and going home." Again, if this was a big corporation like Zynga or something like that was pulling this stunt, then I'd be like, yeah, it's all for publicity. But it's not. It's one guy who lives in Vietnam who probably was not expecting this to happen. And maybe would even admit that the game is somewhat heavily inspired by all these other games. I mean, when people go to make games for the first time, they usually make games that are very, very similar to other games, like board games, card games, and so on. Maybe the guy it's not that he probably doesn't, say no to the money, but I imagine his family's probably getting harassed by the media especially there in Vietnam, probably, because, it's probably a pretty big deal that, hey, this guy in your backyard made this game that's all the rage in the U.S. right now. Like, and what's he going to be able to say about it? There's not a lot to say about it, right? It's a stupidly simple game. So I don't know. I don't really believe the conspiracy theories. I really think the guy is cracking under pressure, to be honest, for better or for worse. But again, I mean, you can haze on Flappy Bird all you want, but I just think most of the stuff on the mobile phones are just like it. So why are we picking on this even more so because it got popular? You know what I mean? Like, most stuff that's on iTunes is garbage.
If you guys, if anybody thinks, like, the media alone, people that, can find people's personal information, companies that can find people's personal information, they know the name, they look up the individual, they get in touch, that can be bad enough on its own if you're not a particularly public person, just dealing with media in general, locally, internationally, God knows from what other fronts. But if you think that he's overreacting to this, go to Twitter search, and search for... I'll give one example, but feel free to substitute your own creative words because they probably all exist. But in Twitter search, just plug in the individual's username, Dongatory, at DONGATORY. And in this case, add the words fuck you and press enter. And look at all of the Twitter search results. I'm not surprised at this amount of vitriol because that's the internet echo chamber at large. But it's kind of completely horrifying. And by kind of, I mean very much.
I don't know what to say. I mean, this is such a weird situation.
It's funny because there's so many other details that add to this. Right as we started this topic, apparently people are thinking that they're going to lose the game or it's going to stop working. That's not going to happen.
Right.
But like until iOS compatibility breaks the game, it will still continue to work. I went to my purchased section. I played the game a little bit. I'm terrible at it. Whatever. I don't care. I deleted it. I went back and re-downloaded it at the start of the show.
Right.
I have it again.
Xbox Live, same thing you can do there. Even though they've delisted things like Mortal Kombat Trilogy and things like that, you can still download those games if you bought them in the past.
Yeah, that will not always be the case, and also like service shutdowns are a big one. But in terms of this kind of media, it's funny the people that play it in protest and also just hurl these insults at him.
The other weird. I got train derailed there because I was trying to read chat at the same time there.
Train derailed?
Yes, my thought derailed there. Anyway, all right, sorry. Live radio. Dungeon Buster says, imagine the response the guy who came up with pet rocks a few decades ago and made millions off of it we get today if Twitter were around.
Ooh, that is a good
That's
example.
A really good analogy.
That's a scary good example.
It's a very good... See, that's why I got derailed. I was thinking one thing, then I read that, and I was like, oh, that's a good
thought.
thought.
Pet rocks. Wow.
Yeah, right?
I'm already sure they have a pet rock app out there for
easily.
type of thing.
Oh,
they have a Chia Pet app, I'm sure.
But yeah, people are really mean on the internet. And another thing I was thinking of is that you could probably you could search Lady Gaga, Miley Cyrus, and put "fuck you" after it, and you probably get tons of tweets.
Of course,
that's that whole celebrity culture that we live in.
Or in the case of Miley Cyrus, offers.
But it also it makes me think. Jimmy Kimmel does this hilarious segment on his show, and it's all over YouTube. The whole celebrities
reading nasty comments to themselves. Oh God, that's priceless.
It's great, and yeah, they actually read the tweets, and they'll respond back. Just depending on who the celebrity is, like I think there was one with Kate Blanchett, and she's got that British voice or whatever, and she reads the tweet and she goes, "Well, now that's not very nice."
Some of them will find a way to turn it around and make it sound like a compliment.
Yeah,
those are really good.
Yeah, it was really funny. So I don't know. It's just, but not everybody can let it roll off their back like that. Like not everybody's ready for that. And if this is a pretty simple guy who just coded games in his spare time, whether it was inspired by heavily other stuff or not, he probably just wasn't ready for it.
It's funny because it's one of those things where there is one good thing about the game. It reached critical acclaim for everybody to play it. But everything else, like nitpicking is a thing, but everything else people can complain about. The concept is stolen from previous games, and there's the P.O.P.O., I want to say Chinese something or other game from 2010 that people said it was a ripoff of. The Super Mario Brothers Assets ripoff. The extreme, despite liking the game, people go crazy about the extreme difficulty of it. So you have this one good thing that brings things together well enough for it to take hold, but then everybody finds everything to complain about, and it escalates dramatically.
Well, I guess this is good news because I put your theory to the test, and I went to Twitter and I searched for Orange Lounge Radio in quotes, and I put sucks, and I didn't get anything. So I'm hoping that just means we're not famous or something.
There's probably just about me.
We just haven't made it yet.
Well, it was funny that you mentioned this because, and I responded to him, although I didn't check for an answer. The guy who did Potter Puppet Pals, I'm following him on Tumblr. Mm-hmm. And he posted a whole bunch of really positive messages that he got, and he said, "Yeah, I get a whole lot of crap from people too, but I guess that's just the side part of being moderately famous on the internet." And I was like, "Yeah."
It's you said that under your breath a minute ago. The whole well, I'm surprised you didn't see anything about me, but in all seriousness, you have taken some heat being a host of the show before because
I'm a woman.
Well,
because I'm a woman,
which possibly, and you do have strong opinions, which is part of why we have you on the show. Strong opinions make for good discussions, right? But you take heat sometimes for that, and you had to learn in the beginning to let it roll off your back because in the beginning, it was hard, right?
Yeah, it's and I keep bringing it up because
not to put you on the spot,
because I think it's absolutely hilarious now. Being told on a dig response to get back in the kitchen and stop talking. Fuck you. You just need to have your tongue cut out and never talk again, and your fingers cut off and never type again, because that type of behavior is unacceptable. Your parents should be ashamed of you.
Well, I mean, that was a dig comment. I mean, that dates it right there.
I know. Yeah, it was in our second year.
But I mean, but in all seriousness, you had to kind of be able to let that roll off your back, and this guy's probably still trying to get used to that too. So
yeah, after a while, you just don't care. I mean, I hate to put it that way, but it's if I see anything negative about me now, I'm just you don't know who I am. Fuck you.
And Loki.
Who are you?
Loki's got some of it too.
Yeah.
Loki gets the heat too. I haven't taken as much. I mean, certainly there's been negative things written about me on the internet. I will say this. I get the emails in private. I'm going to pray for you emails. I've gotten 2 of those in the past. So.
I'm going to pray for you, but I'm going to pray for an intervention. No.
So, I mean, and the first time I was kind of I was actually kind of flattered because I was like, wow, somebody really took the time out of their day to put this. They must really believe in what they're saying. But then I was just interesting. And then, delete, what can you do? I didn't really want to respond and engage in a dialogue or what have you, but it was just interesting is all. So.
Yeah. And by the way, guys, I don't really give a shit about whoever that asshole was before. I really don't care.
Yeah.
Fucking people.
Black Wolf found an account that I was going to bring up. There is a twitter.com/OLRsucks.
Is there really?
There is really.
Get out.
It hasn't been updated in 3 years, and it's for a private religious school.
Oh, I thought it was actually about the damn show.
No, but I did search. You did Orange Lounge Radio Sucks. I did @OLRsucks. And Ronnie Talbot said it.
Who? Our good friend Ronnie from Big Brother? Oh.
January 26th, and I quote, he's sending it to yourself and OLR. The tweet that it matched says, "They never consider the concept of everyone sucks in the beginning. They expect auto awesomeness."
I actually
from
know
the MMO
League of Legends
a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, he was talking about League of Legends. Well, that's not about that.
And also Tech 2030 would like to say Orange Lounge Radio sucks.
Well, he just did that because I opened my big mouth, and now we're going to get 5 tweets this week to say Orange Lounge Radio sucks. Yeah.
You know what? Huh. You know what sucks?
Your attitude sucks.
No. You know what sucks?
What?
Vacuum. That was a dad joke.
So as far as Flappy Bird goes, just to bring this conversation
play the game
full circle,
or don't, and stop freaking out.
I give it as much clout as any mobile phone game.
Your 53-point high score speaks to that.
Well, if you're gonna do something, be good at it. Do you think Flappy Bird will come back, Jason?
I have no idea. I don't know enough of the detail. I didn't keep up on the news enough to go all pundit on it. I have no idea. I hope I hope he makes the right decisions for himself, and he does what works out best for him. And otherwise, I don't know, and I don't care.
Loki, will Flappy Bird be back?
It's not gone. At least on Android, you can just go download it on the internet. Once it's on the internet, it's always on the internet.
That's true.
Except for episodes of Being Bobby Brown, which I don't know about that.
And my thought is it will absolutely come back in probably a few weeks' time. He just updated it like 2 days ago before he had his breakdown. So it'll be back.
Here's my response. Why do we care? It's a fucking game. There are much bigger things in the world going on to worry about than some guy having an emo fest and taking his game off of the iApp store.
Well, yet here we are with a video game podcast. It is relevant.
But I'm talking when you're seeing this shit on CNN. You know, aren't there revolts going on in the Ukraine right now? Don't we have people being abused in Russia right now because of something they were born? You know, we have bigger things to worry about than CNN reporting on a fucking game.
They have to pad those 24 hours somehow.
Well, the CNN is just kind of like your grandparents going, "Hey, look, I found something cool on the internet that you guys have never heard of before."
Unless your grandparents are Southern, then it's all Fox News.
Have you heard of this thing called Twitter? There's celebrities tweeting each other. I'm sure, like in a decade or so, they'll figure out about, they'll find out about Reddit, and then we'll hear stories about that. They're just a little slow on that kind of stuff.
Oh God, I almost choked at the thought of grandparents on Reddit. That's scary.
That would be hilarious.
My television is for my PlayStation 4. I don't use it for television. Oh, unless RuPaul's Drag Race is on. That's the only thing I watch. I swear. All right. Maybe Survivor once in a while.
For the record, I don't see... you know what? BBC reported on it, so I am gravely disappointed with the BBC.
Your tax dollars at work. All right.
That's BBC. They're not our tax dollars.
Anyhow, let's move on. Let's talk about the games that maybe do deserve a little more attention, the types of games that we have been playing this week. Dark Sakura, how was your gaming week? What types of video games have you been playing?
I played Final Fantasy XIV a couple of times this week. Actually finished my Summoner, whatever the crap it was. And I've been playing Animal Crossing, and I've been playing with my work computer because that's fun. It's practically a game. For the record, I no longer, while it's still a cool job, I will be referring to it as LOKAT, Land of Cubicles and Technology.
Because that narrows it down.
For all the Homestucks.
Which is the point, of course.
Yes. I was playing a little bit more Zelda. Link Between Worlds, and I'm thinking about buying a Triforce necklace. I'm also thinking about getting a Triforce tattoo in white ink, so it will glow under a black light.
Is that just an inherent thing of tattoo ink, or is it a special?
Anything that's white will glow under a black light.
Oh, of course. Disregard.
Is that it for your gaming week?
Yes.
All right. Loki, how was your gaming week?
I actually played a bunch of different, well, not entirely different stuff, but some different stuff. Let's see. I actually got to play, what was it? Not Mod Nature. Little Big Planet karting. Because I've had that from PlayStation Plus for the longest time, and my son was he wanted to play Mario Kart or something, but I was in the middle of playing Call of Duty at the time, and so I was like, all right, let's see what other games are on here. I'm all, hey, you want to play this one? And he's like, no, I'll watch you play. So I got to check that out, and it's pretty cool. I like how you can reskin all the weapons and everything. So they have a bunch of Mario Kart maps that actually have Mario Kart weapons, and I don't know. It's a lot better than I thought it was going to be, because I heard Mod Nation Racers had like terrible load times, and just everything was really kind of buggy and slow, and it actually turned out pretty cool. So, I'm kind of digging that. And then I played Call of Duty 4, because it kind of went back to that. My friends got us all together on PlayStation 3 to play that game. And so I've been trying to level up, because there's no real easy to do that, or way to do that, because we normally play private games. So I was doing that, and then what else? A little bit of Minecraft and a little bit of very little bit of Super Mario Galaxy. I bust the Wii on, and unfortunately my disc for Mario Kart doesn't work anymore because that was what we were originally going to play. I was going to try to teach Josh how to play that game, but he didn't want to learn. It didn't matter because the disc didn't work. That's it. And then actually, I'm hoping to be able to play it this week. I just bought Jazz Punk, which looks hilarious. So I'm going to try that. And also have a copy of the Lego movie game waiting for me at my work. So I should be playing that later this week because I saw the movie and it's fucking awesome.
Yeah, tons of people
seriously amazing.
Tons of people have been talking about the movie, and I've been hearing a lot of really good reviews about it. So I'll have to see it at some point. This week is going to be crazy for me because I have a show this weekend. But I want to check that out at some point. And then apparently the game is not half bad for a movie tie-in game anyway.
Yeah, it's supposed to be pretty good. It's done by Traveler Tales, and they've done like all the Lego games. But this one's supposed to be a lot better because it doesn't really stick to a certain story. I mean, they kind of can do whatever they want. And I gotta say though, I mean, the movie, I knew it was gonna be good because I was really excited about the whole thing. But then like, not to spoil anything, at the end it kind of takes a different tone, and it's just kind of like, whoa, I was not expecting that. I had to go play Legos the day after. I mean, seriously, I've been playing Legos this week, and that's what I was doing with my son. So,
success.
Yes.
Tiger Claw says Lego Movie made a lot of money this weekend, $69 million. Wow, I didn't realize that.
And its Rotten Tomatoes rating is through the roof.
Is it really?
95
wow.
last I looked.
Well, good for them. I it wasn't really on my radar, but you know what? And it's interesting we bring up the games too because those Lego games, they all do pretty well, and they're all pretty good. Like none of them are really great, but they're all good, and most people seem satisfied with their purchases. So it's kind of been a long running game series. It's always kind of been there that like a lot of people are playing, not a lot of people are talking about. They don't always get critically acclaimed, but it's kind of nice to see that they're still doing a good job with it. So,
and the other thing, man, like before the movie came out, I was over at Barnes and Noble and stuff, and they had all the toy sets from the movie. Damn, do I want those toys?
Buy all our play sets.
They had some really crazy sets, and all that stuff was in the movie. It's like, oh man, and you would love both Rob and Jamie would love Cuckoo Cloudland. That's in there. It's seriously, it's straight out of Wreck-It Ralph, with the whole.
Well, you're being a super consumer whore, but I don't blame you. I love Legos too, so I have to see the movie at some point. Excellent. All right, well, Jason, why don't we go to you and I'll go last.
I wanted to play something else this week, other than Forza and last 2 weeks actually, other than Forza and FIFA. So I bought Peggle 2 because that was the only thing in the Xbox One marketplace that looked remotely interesting. And what can I say? Well, it's Peggle 2. If you've played Peggle, it's Peggle 2. It's cute. The art style is a little bit more like zany, cartoony. That kind of throws me off guard. And I was very, very. I had a shock reflex. So let me change topics a little bit. I was playing a lot with the extra things of the Xbox One this weekend. Smart Glass for the Xbox One specifically, SkyDrive and Upload Studio, all of that kind of stuff. Can I say that I am so glad that the uploads export in MP4 and not WMV, and it's kind of crazy how ubiquitous MP4 is everywhere. So anyways, I took all of my clips that were actually remotely interesting, uploaded them, so I can do fancy things with them now, download them, all that kind of stuff. So I was playing Peggle, and the third level, the third scene, the first is the unicorn whose name I always forget. The second one is a troll under a bridge. The third level is a winter wonderland with a Sasquatch, or Yeti. I forget which one it is. And when you get the extreme fever, when the level wraps up, he turns around and his butt is censored. I had a shock. It's like, did PopCap really just do that? Oh, it's a bare ass joke. So I saw that, and I have video of it, and I can upload it, and it's silly.
What puts the 2 in Peggle 2? Because I really don't know. Like, what did they change?
The abilities are different. The characters are the 3 that I've gotten. 2 of the 3 of them have been different. The unicorn is still there, but the troll and the Sasquatch are new. The game is still the same formula. Playability wise, besides power ups, like I said, there's nothing different to speak of.
I still like the Zen owl best of everybody.
They were all incredibly cute. I loved everything
his
in the version of
ability.
Peggles that I've played before. Rather,
I like that one in whichever one gives you the pinball power.
The crab.
Yeah.
It's not different. It's very much Peggle. A couple of coworkers and also people that have been visiting the office ask me what I'm playing, what the game is about, whatever it is like that, and I look at them and I go, "Do you know The Price is Right? Do you remember Plinko? It's basically that." And I think that's a very accurate statement.
Very accurate statement.
It's more random and diverse for obvious gaming reasons, but I think it's a pretty good description. So I've played a lot of that, basically just kind of pick up and go and stop in between doing things, all that kind of stuff. While I was exporting the video last night, I went over and played Pickle. Like an hour and a half of it. I think I've come to the conclusion that my first system, I don't know exactly when I'm going to get a Wii U. Again, this is all like financially dependent, but I think this generation I'm going to get a PS4 before an Xbox One. Again, as always, this has very much to do more with the library than anything else. But as it stands right now, there is nothing compelling for me to buy an Xbox One for. I have already played Dead Rising 4 times, and to do it a 5th time seems silly and excessive. Not to mention, I'm still very jaded by that demo, like I was talking about before, and I just, like, whatever. I don't get me wrong, I love Dead Rising, but a 5th time without actually having an investment in it yet, not to mention making a literally financial investment to be able to play it, whatever. And I was thinking about it, the more and more I thought about it about the last couple of years, I missed a lot of really good shit last generation because my PS3 library is all of 5 games. I missed Infamous. I missed Prototype. I missed Tomb Raider. I missed Uncharted. I missed Last of Us. My PS3 has been horribly, completely neglected, which I will be correcting thanks to PlayStation Plus and the revolving door of excellent games. But I missed a lot of really good games that I never played whatsoever, not at friends' houses, not at anything like that. So this generation, I'm going to change that. PS4 or Wii U will be my first console of choice probably sometime this year. I have to imagine sometime this year.
Oh, keep us posted.
Not to mention, I really like the PS4 camera abilities and just Playroom in general. The PS4 camera seems so much better than the Kinect, because it has something more tactile and more controllable in the sense of the controller camera. The controller. Do they even have a name for that? The move in the controller, whatever.
6-axis.
No, that's probably true.
The
but
thing
I don't
that
think
does
that
stuff.
defines, the glowy light in the back of the controller. The Kinect, I love the voice commands, and it'll be interesting to see how the PS4 holds up against the Xbox One in that regard. But as far as interactivity is concerned, the Kinect control still really sucks. The other thing, I don't remember if this was a thing in the Xbox console or if you could only do it with games, but with the Xbox 360, you could hold your hand in place to select an item. With the Kinect, with the Xbox One, you have to push forward. That's terrible. I don't know what it is, but I cannot do it. And so on some of those smaller pins on the Xbox One's interface, fucking impossible for me. I don't have the most steady hands in the first place, but the slowness to maintain smooth motion for the icon on screen, I just don't like it. I'm horribly inaccurate with it, which has been a complaint against Kinect the whole time. But yeah, it's unfortunate because I love everything else that Microsoft has been doing. The fact that they have good online communities looks fun, but I missed a really good library in Sony, and so I think I'll change that this year.
I think Xbox One's library is going to be very compelling at the end of the year.
Absolutely.
As we get into, it's going to be very interesting to see what it has versus Sony. But yeah, right now I'm totally happy with my PlayStation 4, and Xbox One will come eventually, especially if they get some of those games out this year. If it's true, some of the rumors we were talking about last week with Forza Horizon, that'll sell me a console right there. And Halo 2 Anniversary would be great.
And a lot of it
Quantum Break looks great.
A lot of it is more a reflection of the fact that my game playing really took a nosedive over the last 5 years, and so that's more, not that aspect of it. I'm not knocking one system or another, but I think there is already enough on the PlayStation 4 now to get started, and there will continue to be, as will happen with any console. But just saying, that's the direction right now that I'm leaning on, and if I can swing it in a couple of months, that's more than likely going to be my choice.
All right, well, anything else for your gaming week this week?
I did play Flappy Bird. I got 15 or 16, I want to say. I deleted it. I don't give a shit.
All right, fair enough. Okay, my gaming week has been almost predominantly one game. I did do a few other games.
Final Fantasy 14.
Well, yeah, that's a given. That's every week. That's every week. I did watch Xtifer play a little bit of Outlast, which is on PlayStation 4, so I got to see a little bit of that because I hadn't played it. I have it in Steam, but I haven't played a whole lot, and I definitely was like having that whole, like, I hear my mom in the back of my head, Rob, that is gross. Why are those corpses hanging for that is disgusting.
Please tell me that you marked it for download at least on PlayStation Plus.
Oh, yeah, I already have it on my PlayStation 4. I keep looking at it going, should I play it? And then I go, no, I'm going to play more Tomb Raider.
And despite, as we've said a number of times now, despite not having a PlayStation 4, if you have a PlayStation account, if you have a PlayStation Plus account, buy those games from the website so you have them as soon as you have the system.
And Alan has trolled me at least 3 times this week. He goes, you should go play the scary game and you should stream it for your people.
Yes.
And I'm like, no.
Yes.
No.
Yes. Do it.
When I finally get a stinking camera, maybe, but those things are still hard to find.
October 31st, maybe? Anyway.
Maybe. Here's the thing. I would love to play more Outlast and Tomb Raider and all that stuff, but my life has been consumed with a particular title on the 3DS this week. And of course, this is Shane's fault, because y'all know he was here visiting last week, and Shane has this ability to really sell you on a video game. He's really... I don't know why
he's like out even trying.
I don't know why he isn't like a video game salesman for like a major company trying to... Well, in a way, he kind of is. Well, but he needs to be like even higher up in that. That's what I'm saying. He needs to be selling like the big stuff towards, big chains and stuff, because he's really good at selling that stuff. So anyway, the game he convinced me to get the demo for was a game called Bravely Default, which is on the 3DS. And I know there's been a lot of chatter about the game this week. And, Shane, one of my closest friends, first time I'd seen him in 3 years, he was here on the show Sunday. And then Monday, what do? We sat here and we just played the Bravely Default demo in the same room for like most of the day. I sunk 5 hours into the demo. And then the game itself was released on Friday, so I realized after a couple hours of the demo that I was going to buy this game, so I bought it so it would be delivered by Friday. And since Friday to now, I've already sunk 8 hours into the game, which might not sound like a lot, but for somebody who has like gamer ADD as bad as I do and everything else that I have going on, pretty much every moment that I haven't like been doing something for the show next week or what have you, like I've been playing stinking Bravely Default. If you don't know what the game is, it's basically the Final Fantasy III DS remake. The art style is very similar. This one has all the voice acting though, and but it is a classic Final Fantasy game. If people are pissed at the direction Final Fantasy's been taking with 13 and some of the more recent titles, then maybe this is the game that they really want, because this game takes a lot of its nods from a classic Final Fantasy game. Now, obviously, it's not Final Fantasy Bravely Default. It is a new series that Square Enix is trying, but they've come out and pretty much said this was originally going to be a sequel to the Warriors of Light, the original DS title. We're doing some different things with it. I mean, the only thing... it's not chocobos and mogs. It's some different stuff. But a lot of the jobs are very similar. The job system is straight out of Final Fantasy V. So why do I like this game so much if I kind of have this whole been there, done that attitude about it? Because there's something very familiar yet inviting about the game where, yes, it's an all-new story, but it feels kind of like I'm picking up this favorite TV series that was on 20 years ago that hasn't really been on in a very long time. It's like, oh, they're out with a new season, and it's a little bit different, or it's a spinoff, but it's kind of like that old show that you miss. And that's kind of where I'm at with Bravely Default. They do some interesting things with street passes and friends lists too, which they have this whole little like rebuild the town, and you can open new shops and things like that. And you kind of this very Facebooky apply the workers, and you can, and if you street pass people, you get more workers. There's that whole thing in it. And also the game does an interesting thing where you can actually send moves to friends. Like, let's say for whatever reason I have a friend who's not leveling a white mage in their party, but I have a white mage in mine. I could send a protect spell through the internet, and then my friend could actually use it in their game one time. And then if they need it again, I could send it again or whatever. And you can do, street passes and send all those. That was kind of neat. It's something a little different for street passing, and it gives a certain like competitive and cooperative element too to playing this game at the same time with your friends. Like I have an awful lot of 3DS friends who are playing this game right now, and it makes it kind of fun. So that's all great. Now I do have to razz the game for at least one thing, and the game is infamous for this, and I know we've talked about it on the show in the past. The game has only one, but it's a microtransaction. And it's a microtransaction that some could argue makes it pay to win. I don't know why this is... Well, I know why it's in there, because there's some people are going to buy it, and it's going to, hey, it's more money in Square Enix's pocket. And Square Enix has done a lot of questionable things when it comes to microtransactions in the land of mobile lately. Like that Final Fantasy All the Bravest game from last year, that was utter garbage that came out. And then there was the recent Final Fantasy VI remake that came out that has some questionable art choices in it. So they're doing some very weird things. And one of the things, what it is, the one microtransaction is, you can buy this thing called I think it's a second potion or a second default or something like that. It's a sleep potion. I don't know what it's called. But you use it in the middle of battle, and you get to do an extra move. That's kind of like the big thing about it, and it can help you if you have a lot of them, because I think when you spend 99 cents you get 3 of them, so you could really turn the tide of a boss battle by using these. Now it is important to say you do get these SP points on your own. If you leave your DS sleeping, every 8 hours you'll get 1, like a typical Facebook game. But this element is in there, and some people are going to question me for thinking this way, but I don't really care. It's my honest gut. It puts a tarnish. It puts a little poo smear on the game. I mean, literally. It's a little poo smear on what is otherwise a great game. As you kind of look at that and go, that is fucking cheap. That is tacky. That is a tacky ass color they chose for that. I can't help but feel that way. Is that I go, gosh, this game is such a great... Man, I remember those classic Final Fantasy games. I'm so excited to play another classic Final Fantasy game, but then, there's this poo stain of the modern, microtransactions and how that has filthed up some of our games. And so that, to me, I didn't like that. But I'm just ignoring it. I'm just pretending it's not there, and I'm not accessing it. And I'm not going to give them my money for that feature. I hope you guys out there won't spend your money on it either, not even to check it out. We have to send the message that JRPGs in America, yes. Microtransactions in them, no. Very important.
Bravely Default is not the game we want, but the game we need.
I also just want to say quickly, now I see some folks in the chat. Like I see Act Deft in chat at live.vognetwork.com. Bravely Default's demo didn't sold me into the game, therefore I'm going to skip it. Granted, I need to... here it is. Sky, what you're saying about the game that sold you into it is what turned me off of it. Which is fine, but go check out the demo is very robust. I will say this, the demo doesn't even scratch the surface of the story and doesn't have any of the voice acting or any of that. But as far as the mechanics go, it does a pretty good job teaching you the whole Brave and Default mechanics, which in a nutshell, I've talked too long about this game. I'm trying to wrap up. But Default is like defend, but instead of just defending, you like stock up an action point to use later. So you could defend for 2 rounds and then unleash 3 attacks in a certain round. But sometimes, as you know, you want to defend against big attacks. So it's kind of like a battery. That's the whole Brave Default system. You can get a sense for how that system works in the demo. And even the Street Pass feature and all that is in the demo. And the other one last cool thing that I thought was pretty cool. If you play the demo, and there's 7 different unlocks you can get, depending on how far you get, for things that carry over into the regular game. And it is quite a nice little kick in the pants boost to start the game.
So that they are particularly notable, and even if you buy the game before you play the demo, it might still be would it still be worth it to play the demo even if you bought the retail game to start with?
Why not? I think so. All it's going to give you is it's going to give you very basic items that level 1 characters would have to start that otherwise you just grind to get the money to buy it. Like it's going to give you a rod and a hat. It's going to give you 2 potions and a Phoenix down. Like those are the types of things your basic Final Fantasy characters get in the beginning, right? So it's not going to like change the tide of the game, but it'll start you off.
It'll bump the bottom line a little bit higher.
Exactly. So, there you go. That's interesting. I see a lot of comments in chat. Not fans. Rama said played Bravely Default demo, thought it sucked. Tech 2030 says yeah, I played it too, wasn't feeling it. So not everybody's into it. I have I have at least 8 friends on 3DS who are playing this right now, which out of my list of 30 people is quite a bit. So I don't know. If you like the classic Final Fantasy games, at least check out the demo. If it's not up your alley, then more for me. But yeah, I do hope the game does well enough that they'll want to release more Japanese RPGs in America, because I do feel like this is the type of game we keep asking for, and here it is. And so I really hope that whole microtransaction thing doesn't fuck it all up, and then people reject the game, and then people go, oh, well, Americans didn't want the JRPG. It's like, no, we didn't want this other bullshit that you put in there. Anyway. Loki, have you been following Bravely Default at all? Do you have any opinions on this whole thing?
No, honestly, I mean, it looked like a Final Fantasy game, but other than that, I haven't really followed much of it.
Gotcha. All right. Well, we're going to get into some news stories here. Real quick, some housekeeping. I don't have a lot tonight, just twitter.com/OLR and facebook.com/Orange Lounge Radio if you want to follow us on social media. There's also google.com/plus Orange Lounge Radio is our Google Plus page, which we'll get to the question of the week there. We do get quite a few responses, so somebody's using Google Plus. There's at least a handful of people there. So
there's at least 3.
That's why I keep giving out the URL. There's somebody's on it. Plus, the more Google kind of forces you on it, I think some people just kind of accept, oh, all right, I might as well use this. Yep. Oh. All right, let's get into some gaming news. We've got quite a bit tonight, so let's get into it. Loki.
Okay, so in March, we're going to be having the first kind of installment of the Metal Gear Solid 5 series, starting with Ground Zeroes. And it is coming out at more of a budget price, kind of like $29.99, I think, for the physical copies on PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360, and $49.99 on Xbox One, something like that. And the kind of bad thing about it, though, aside from the fact that it's not the full Metal Gear Solid 5 game, it's only 2 hours long, and that's if you actually do the standalone campaign and everything. I guess there's some side stuff you can do, but it doesn't really add a whole ton of extra. So it's almost like you're paying for like a glorified demo, if you will. And kind of add insult to injury there, the full game might not even be out this year. In fact, the window right now for Metal Gear Solid 5: The Phantom Pain is anywhere between October 2014 through December 2015. So I guess maybe the incentive that, it's only 2 hours long is, well, it may be the only 2 hours of the game you get to play this year.
Didn't Gran Turismo 5 have something like this, where before they released the game, there was the whole prologue or whatever that was...
Yeah, they do that with Gran Turismo 5, and even if you remember, like Dead Rising 2 had that kind of prologue Xbox Live Arcade game.
Yeah, but that was like a $10 game, and it was more than 2 hours, wasn't it?
It was about 2 hours.
Oh, wasn't?
I was going to say it certainly wasn't longer. It certainly wasn't as much as 4. I think I probably finished it close to the same time frame.
But at least it was a lot cheaper. Whereas,
yes.
You're talking about now...
It was arcade priced instead of half, 3/4 retail price.
I love that whole... It's a budget price at $49 on Xbox One. What?
Nope.
That's like
it's $10 less than any normal game release. Ooh, that's a massive savings right there.
I get that video games carry a bit of a premium for the type of entertainment they provide, and it wouldn't be out of question to pay $30 for a Blu-ray movie that's only 2 hours, right? But this is right. But this is starting to push.
That's a funny comparison, considering the movies are rarely longer than 2 hours.
Well. Some of them are epics, though.
Rarely.
Okay, but anyway, my point is still that, that's a lot of money to drop on a 2 hour experience.
Yes.
And it really does feel like this is something to try and boost Konami's bottom line because the game isn't coming out in a particular financial year that they need it to. So this is just a little like boost.
And Konami, I mean, they don't really have a whole ton of stuff coming out. I mean, they have Castlevania, Lords of Shadows 2, and then I know, Phantom Pains and Ground Zeroes, and then Pro Evo is really the only stuff I know on the slate so far, aside from, the rumored maybe reboot of, Silent Hill or another entry into that.
Konami's kind of lost me with a lot of that stuff too. Like I used to love Castlevania. Now this new one, I forgot. I just don't care. I didn't even really like the last one that was out on PlayStation 3 and stuff. It's just,
Talking about the Lords of Shadows
series. I just don't like the direction those games have ended up going. They're not what they used to be. So it's kind of like I'm just like, don't care. I know some people will disagree with me, but that's fine. That's opinion.
I remember when I first saw this article that I thought the swing was from December this year to October next year, which a 10-month swing is pretty bad, but a 15-month swing is a little bit crazier. It may come out at the end of this year, or it could be out sometime in the entirety of next year. Yeah, that's a real good target date to provide anybody with.
Anybody here planning on dropping the $40 on the Metal Gear Solid 2-hour side story demo-y thing?
I might, to be honest, just because I really do love the Metal Gear series, and I need to start playing more than just the core series, even though this is technically part of the core series. Assuming I have a PS4 by the time it comes out, that's a good milestone to be against. Get a PS4 before any part of Metal Gear Solid 5 drops. Or rather, Phantom Pain, not any part of it. Anyways, I might. Or we'll just wait for PlayStation Plus to give it to you in like 5 months after it comes out.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's exactly where I'm at. I'm going to wait for the bargain bin or the PlayStation Plus.
It's the Steam sale mentality now, unfortunately.
Well, I'll drop full price. I bought Bravely Default at full price, and there's a lot of games I still buy at full price because I want to play them right away, but not this. Going to the chat room over at live.vognetwork.com, Dartetsuya says, I wasn't really feeling it with Lords of Shadow. The 3DS one seemed cool, but the PlayStation 3 360 ones just seemed like a God of War-ish ripoff. Mm-hmm.
Also, Shadow of the Colossus.
Dungeon Buster says, weird that they would do a release like this. It's not like fans wouldn't wait for a complete version of the game to get back into Metal Gear Solid again. Alan Alchemy says they need to keep Castlevania on handhelds and keep making clones of Symphony of the Night with slightly new mechanics to each game. If the art style and music keeps with the pedigree, they will sell. Don't give me that Castlevania God of War crap. So, all right.
Hey, real quick, since I'm about to put him down. Hey, since I normally don't get to see him, and because I'm at the show normally, my son's right here next to me. I was wondering if you want to say hi. Josh, you want to say hi? No.
Hi, Josh.
Like, I don't
say hi.
What? No.
What?
He's tossing his pants up in the air.
You're a silly boy.
Yeah.
Josh, you're gonna have to keep this show going into its 40th year when you're our age.
Are you gonna do the radio show with Daddy when you get older? No.
He'll have to stop being so shy.
All right. He's being shy.
That's fine. That's fine. I was shy at that age, too. All right. Let's move on with some more news, Jason.
That is very strange to think about. A shy Rob.
I know, right?
Scary thought.
I know, right?
Amazon has entered into the gaming arena in a big way, rather than just being a retailer and deal maker and everything else. Amazon has acquired Double Helix, which you may know as the people that have most recently been working on Killer Instinct for the Xbox One. It was an intellectual property and talent acquisition, so reportedly all 75 employees will continue working from home base in Orange County, I think it was. Irvine? Orange County. 75 people on staff, all will be retained through the transition as Double Helix becomes under the wing of Amazon. This has furthered the theory that Amazon is going to expand their hardware division to include a gaming console. Obviously, they already make Kindles. They already make the Kindle Fires, more specifically, more interestingly. But there have been rumors with the fact that Amazon controls its own little Android ecosystem that should they decide to ramp up production of a lower cost competitive gaming console, that now they have somebody to presumably guarantee solid first-party titles, in addition to being able to take up other retailers, other Android devs that want to sign on to the Amazon App Store and join in the ever-growing ecosystem that Amazon.com entails.
Didn't we have a rumor a few months ago that Amazon was doing an Ouya? Basically, that Amazon was going to make their own Ouya console, like an Android console.
Probably
I'm almost
at some
positive
point.
that came up on the show, and I think Amazon is looking at, gee, where did Ouya fuck up? Oh yeah, Ouya, like they don't have any games. So by having their own in-house to make exclusive titles for this device, they're going to guarantee a few more sales. Plus, they're going to throw in some deals for Amazon Prime. They'll have a freaking thing fly to your house and drop the console on your doorstep. I mean,
there was something last year, maybe late 2012, that longtime subscribers to Amazon Prime, just if they didn't already have a Kindle on their account, would just have a Kindle sent to them. So yeah, Amazon's method for getting
that was weird.
Sorry, we lost Loki for a minute, but he's back. Sorry, Jason.
Amazon's method for making money, they sell everything at cost, and they make their money back in interest by paying vendors back well before license terms and well before payback terms, and accrue the interest from that. That's where most of their money comes from. And then everything else, the fact that they're getting into same-day delivery, like local delivery for vegetables is obviously a big deal, but as soon as they can be their own courier, get trucks to your house, Amazon's going to be a force to be reckoned with.
Those freaking drones. Like, not that I think that's actually going to happen, because it'll get tied up in government red tape for 20
and
years.
Power lines, but that's a dumb joke.
But I mean, that's what that is literally what they're trying to do, is have little aliens drop them at your door.
Absolutely.
That is their dream.
Absolutely.
And I think most of us are
I'm
like,
going to order a car and have them drop a car off.
I think most of us are like, yes, please. Send the robot army over. I want my video game right now.
I know the
Make way
amount
for
of
the
abuse,
overlords.
and it's kind of scary to think about the viability in metropolitans like, I don't know, New York and San Francisco and places with high rises where navigating it may be a little bit more difficult. As if it's hard to avoid a solid object in, a couple 100 feet up. But
if they could drive around in the Fifth Element, they could figure out how to use that airspace.
That's an apt comparison.
Just go look at future movies where they all drive around, and Star Wars, the planets. Come on, they'll figure it out.
Something interesting that I didn't even realize was who Double Helix is actually composed of. I forgot that they were born out of Shiny and the Collective. So these are the people that have Earthworm Jim, Sacrifice, MDK, Star Wars Episode 3 to the extent. I don't remember how good Episode 3 was. The prequel Star Wars games were really hit or miss in the various incarnations they had, but there's a lot of talent there. And like I've said a couple of times now over the last couple shows, Killer Instinct is fucking amazing. It is a gorgeous game with detail for fighting game buffs or not. The game is incredibly attractive and so well built to the extent that I actually understand fighting games. Terrible at it, but I understand it. There's a lot of talent there, and for Amazon to keep them all on board, anything they want to do to be able to provide a compelling product, this is a good choice. It's going to be a pretty interesting 1 to 2 years to see what Amazon's going to do with them.
Cial in our chat room says, I, for one, welcome our robot Amazon overlords. Let's see, Tech2030 says, I got a really awesome deal from Amazon using my Amazon Visa and got a Kindle for $30. Did you get paid for that statement? Did I just read a commercial? I think I did.
I always, whenever I buy stuff, I see the $50 gift card thing for applying for an Amazon Visa.
Moving on to less commercially sponsored stories.
Oh, no, this is pretty commercially crap.
Well, let's hear it.
EA has a free-to-play game called Dungeon Keeper, and it's very heavy on the transactions. I refuse to call them microtransactions because a transaction is a transaction, and everyone drop your damn prefixes. Right. But now there is a new accusation coming out against Electronic Arts saying that they've been manipulating the ratings on the game. But one of the guy who's behind the Dungeon Keeper studio, that's EA Mythic, said that basically it's people just remembering the original game with fondness and pulling the whole nostalgia thing, but apparently it's going because of the way the Android works for giving a game less than 5 is that it asks you to leave feedback as a sort of misdirection thing. So that's where that's coming from. I actually wouldn't put it past EA for this, but they're still... You don't manipulate a ratings of your game to make it look better, because then that just makes you look like crap.
Well, this also goes back to the fact I said earlier that 98% of the stuff that you get on the mobile phone marketplaces are garbage. And the reason why they're so highly rated is because of stuff like this. Or, they give a little kickback to their 5-star reviewers, such as an in-game item or a, something to like a little average, one game I play actually displays 5-star reviews in the game with the names in them. So it's like you're famous for a minute. So it's just, I don't know, like this kind of stuff is ridiculous.
Well, this game was just ridiculous in the first place. I mean, I don't know if you saw like some of the coverage of it, but I mean, it's taking the whole, free to play kind of structure and just really exploiting it. For example, to break certain blocks to create dungeons literally takes hours, if not days, unless you want to pay real money to speed it up.
And I'm gonna keep it real here. This EA Mythic, like they did Warhammer Online, which was that was a cool little MMO. It didn't ultimately end up working out because it just didn't work as a premium game in a very competitive marketplace. But ever since then, EA Mythic's done this, and they did Ultima Forever Quest for the Avatar, which was also a mobile phone game that I found to be offensive. As an Ultima fan, I was like, what garbage has this sunk into? Like, sorry, that's just my opinion. As somebody who kind of grew up on the Ultima series on PC, I was like, oh my gosh, Lord British would like take a chainsaw to this if he could, which he's not.
What are you talking about, man? Lord British is making fucking crappy Facebook games. Remember the crappy piece of shit I had to... The yard sale thing that I had to play through for that stupid Ready Player One contest? Yeah, that was Lord British. Thank you.
I guess he hasn't fared much better, to be honest. He also made Tabula Rasa, which wasn't a very good MMO either. So I guess things like Ultima and Lord British were best in the 80s. Sorry to say.
I do believe the meme is ratings fuckery. John Gruber, Daring Fireball. Wow, Daring Fireball. Way to go, Jason. Daring Fireball, written by Gruber, had a big stint, and it's still a reasonably perpetual thing about people that will take examples of ratings, nag screens, and a bunch of other really nonsense stuff in app and send it to him. And so he's pinned a couple articles about it. It's kind of like the Metacritic argument that when ratings are everything because it's some aspect of something being quantifiable, people do whatever they can to make it as good as possible because there is legitimate benefit tied to this kind of stuff, unfortunately.
Hey, I always ask people that enjoy this show to go give it a nice rating on the various websites.
I actually got feedback about that from somebody.
Oh?
That being suggested to rate something a certain way makes him not want to rate it at all. So,
well,
you say it once, you say it as a part of habit in the closing.
Yeah.
You don't browbeat it. I'm sure it's come
I'm
up
also very transparent in my reason for saying it. I'm just like, we do this show. We don't ask for your money or any of this stuff. We just want you to help spread the word. So either tell a friend or two or...
That's what I told him. He's like, oh, well, okay. But it's just some people... I don't know what it is.
Yeah, there's definitely that whole no, I don't want to do something because somebody told me to do it. I'm that's not an uncommon reaction.
And the third example was going to be whenever we talk about things like this, it comes up a second time in the show.
Well, and my other thought is, fine, don't do it. I'm not going to cry or I'm not going to come to your house and berate you. If you don't want to do it, don't do it. But I'm just kind of like, it would mean a lot if you would.
Please.
So, all right. Anyway, well, it's interesting that this story is out there because now I would say it's backfiring, but it's also giving the game publicity because I'm sure there's a lot of people that are like, well, now I just have to see how bad this game is, or now I want to download this game just so I can give it a 1-star review. So I don't know. I'm sure it's, what they say, press is press and still exposure. All right, let's move on. Loki.
Well, just to kind of go back to what you were just saying, they were justifying the structure of the game and all the in-app purchases. We'll see all these 5-star reviews. People like it.
Yeah. Dungeon Buster, by the way, follows up saying British is also working on Shroud of the Avatar, a spiritual successor to Ultimo with MMO-ish stuff. Oh, yes, I remember that Kickstarter. It was because that's where a lot of those folks are now to fund their games is on Kickstarter. Well, best of luck. I hope it doesn't suck like this Ultima game on iPad did.
Yeah. All right. So Call of Duty, it's been coming out, annually every November. And so far, they've had a few studios kind of juggling development on it with both Infinity Ward and Treyarch kind of putting out the games each year. Although it's not necessarily just them. They have other studios working on different aspects, including multiplayer and DLC and stuff. And one of those companies is actually Sledgehammer Games, which is now going to be taking up the main development of one of these games each 3 years now. They're going to have a 3-year development cycle, and instead of Infinity Ward and Treyarch, it's now going to be Infinity Ward, Treyarch, and Sledgehammer Games, and so on and so forth. Hopefully they'll make them better, because they've been kind of, I don't know, they definitely went down this year. I think with Ghost, a lot of people were disappointed. Black Ops 2 was pretty great. Just if it keeps going,
steam, right?
It's just that the Ghost didn't have a really good hook to it. It was just kind of like, okay, something happened, and now it's post-apocalyptic, yay. I think just putting a little bit more effort into it is going to help, in the extra development time. Hopefully it'll polish up the game a bit, and it'll be interesting to see what they do, because each kind of studio brings a little different type of gameplay into it. You have a lot of the zombie stuff with Treyarch, and they did some different things with multiplayer and things. I don't know, it'll be interesting. I mean, I think that they need to do something to kind of freshen up the series, because especially going out, they were like the number one franchise each year, and now they're not. And people are starting to realize it's getting stale. So it'll be interesting to see how next year turns out.
I'm going to say something crazy right now. I have never, ever played a Call of Duty game.
Me either.
It's maybe not too crazy, but...
Well, there's a lot of people out there who have never, ever played Dead Rising or Peggle 2 or the things you talk about. I mean, there's just, there's people that don't watch certain movies. There's people that don't read certain books or watch certain TV stations.
It just seems strange to me, because there are so many of them, and I have literally missed every single one of them. There's so many things about the series that I don't know, and some of the things I'm curious about is how coherent, as a whole product, are the games in a particular series, in the original, unsubtitled Call of Duty, in the Ghost series, in the Modern Warfare series. I know Modern Warfare has followed a storyline, but do the other series actually follow a coherent storyline from type to type?
They do. At least I can speak for Modern Warfare, Black Ops. Well, Ghost, I don't know, because there's only one game in that franchise, but I know those two have had a storyline that's kind of progressed through the whole thing.
And what's the inner story relationship between the different types?
Well, as far as the campaign goes, it's literally just the events and the story tie into each other. Like, there's literally a narrative from one game to the next. Although, with like Black Ops 2 is more of like flashbacks and stuff, but there is an actual narrative to it. And Modern Warfare, actually, it was just straight through, like, it was a progressive story, like, through the whole series.
It is shocking to me that they could do this coherently enough with 3 overlapping studios with their own direction, but also you guys know the thing about how Pixar always refers to an old series and a new series in a current movie. That's proof that it can be done, but it's literally like the equivalent of name dropping. You do it once and it's over. For any studio to be able to do this coherently across multiple years, across multiple franchises, across multiple games, while overlapping things are happening, that's stunning. It sounds incredibly interesting, and I should play a game or two because I'm interested in them. But
I'm not sure on like Call of Duty 1, 2, and 3 if those were World of War even. I guess might tie into all that stuff. I don't know if those had actually a coherent storyline between them, but 2 and 3 were good. I don't know if it necessarily has to tie into each other, but they're fun.
Let me ask this ignorant question too, since I don't really follow the series either.
Since we're all airing out our lack of Call of Duty experience.
Well,
on the show.
Here's the thing: is that I understand, they have to do this because the games haven't been selling as well or whatever, and I hear that there's been a lot of competition with the Battlefield series. But my understanding is that Battlefield 4 was kind of ass, or at least that's just my understanding. I could be completely off base, but all I see is bitching about how the online is just broken to hell, and EA fucked it again.
Did you wind up following DICE? Because that'll tilt your mental image of Battlefield 4 quite a bit.
Oh,
well, they're also a little bit different. I mean, like I'd say comparing Battlefield and Call of Duty is kind of like comparing Forza or Gran Turismo and Forza Horizon. I mean, definitely Call of Duty is a lot less realistic and more all about just like kind of scripted action events and stuff like that. And Battlefield even kind of went that route, but they're also trying to be a little bit more realistic. Although you watch any of the gameplay and multiplayer, and you're just like, what?
Bail out of an aircraft in air and just kill the other guy with a rocket launcher and then take over the plane that was pursuing you. Yeah, that's not exactly realistic in my book.
I don't play a lot of first-person shooters, but What Up G's comment here in the chat room makes me think of this. What Up G says, I am looking forward to Titanfall, and I kind of go, me too. Actually, I really want to play Titanfall, and I really want to play Destiny. And those are usually...
Titanfall is pretty much just like Call of Duty, but with mechs. I mean, it's literally...
Sounds good to me.
Gameplay is pretty... Yeah.
I like mechs.
I'm on board.
Sign me up. I wasn't interested in your series until you put mechs in it. Now I'm here. Yes, sign me up, please.
But hey, remember they tried that with Battlefield, and that didn't turn out too well.
Let's not
Battlefield
talk about
2142.
Let's not talk about that. All right, let's keep it moving. We got more stories to get to here.
Over this week, there was a bit of an interesting kerfuffle because Ubisoft made a request to the government to the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office, to drop the trademark on Watch Dogs. The message was sent to the USPTO and signed by Yves Guillemot. I'm probably butchered that because my French, LOL. But it was a request for express abandonment that was filed with application serial number 8564238, better known as Watch Dogs, the trademark. And what I didn't realize was that it actually was passed. Ubisoft lost. They lost by nature of the fact that the trademark for Watch Dogs was ended, was released, was deleted, removed, pick your word. This was a fraudulent request. I don't know enough about the application process to know if it was a mere spoofed email address, which is really trivially easy to do. That's why you get emails from customer care at paypal.com when it ain't. Anyways, there was a period of time that Ubisoft, still to this moment, the Watch Dogs trademark is not active. They responded saying that this was a fraudulent request. They will be reapplying for it. They will invariably get it because this is one of those special circumstances that is just absolutely ridiculous. There was various wank about whether they did it wrong and they have to redo it because the logo style for the release cover art has an underscore between the words, and part of the trademark application is in addition to the terms, you also come up with a mark, a visual representation, and that hadn't been included in the original trademark. But this, I don't know that I can come up with any other example where somebody, usually we hear about patent and trademark challenges and this kind of stuff, but this was that somebody deliberately falsified documents and sent a, certified request to the government to drop somebody's legal property. That's kind of unprecedented, and I'm not sure what to make of this, but Ubisoft will be working with the Patent and Trademark Office to get it back.
Any thoughts on this, guys? Anybody? I mean,
I don't even know what else to say. I mean, obviously I don't want to just repeat what Bobby Blackwolf said. That said, for anybody who's listening to this and hasn't listened to Bobby Blackwolf, please check out VxNetwork.com and listen to Bobby's show where he goes into a little bit more detail about this, various theories and other things. Not to mention not to mention the hilarious tie-in for real-life imitating art once again. We'll see how this story develops, and that's really all I can say, because I just don't... It happened. Everybody was shocked, because this is also on the heels of the news 2 to 3 weeks ago about the Wii U port being canceled, which apparently they still didn't comment on this time, even with this trademark kerfuffle patent. Trademark kerfuffle.
Do you think it could be angry Nintendo fans?
Oh God, that would be.
There are some Nintendo fans that are not to be messed with out there. I'll tell you.
Anybody that wants to stand up for a cause, which I think might also be the story of Watch Dogs. Anyways, this is shocking. This is incredibly interesting. And if this is a PR stunt, I don't get it. I get it, but I don't understand it. I understand it, but I don't. Words are really hard to pick correctly to describe what this may actually result in.
It's an unfathomable action that's logically understood, but not emotionally, perhaps.
Yeah. That's a good way of putting it.
Okay.
My honest opinion on all this is that this is a whole lot of to-do about nothing. Because, I mean, and I get why people are talking about it, but it's one of those, we all know the trademark laws in this country are all screwed up anyway, so why is this such a big deal that this is such a freaking hassle? Like, surprise!
Because it's everybody saying, look, see, this is what we're talking about. This is what we mean, everything's broken. People have been faking shit for many, many, many years. It will be interesting to see if something else happens as a part of this. I can't imagine it did. I think somebody just straight up fucked with Ubisoft, because the news has... people have been pissed at Ubisoft for a lot of things for, at least a year and a half now. Wii U notwithstanding, the Rayman situation notwithstanding. Somebody tried to hassle them and completed to whatever extent it's actually going to make a lasting impact.
All right. Let's move on. Dark Sakura, and then we'll get to release dates.
Well, just in response to that, fuckery is afoot. That's it. It's all fuckery. But how about something that isn't quite fuckery? There is a game, a classic game, if you will, called Myst.
Dun dun dun.
Who remembers playing Myst?
Me.
I remember being pissed off at it, and I have a parody of it called Pissed.
I remember the parody, too.
Yep. Well, anyway, it was remade in 1990. Actually, in 2000, the original was in 1993, sorry. In 2000, it was remade as Real Myst, which was a 3D restoration that you could walk around however you want to. It was, fully explorable. And it got cleaned up for an iOS release, and now the developer, Cyan, actually is going to be doing the Real Myst Masterpiece Edition on PC and Mac via Steam. It's for UK it's $12.99, and US it's $17.99. And if you already own Real Myst, you get a discount of 33%, and it's going to basically enhance all the models, the textures, the lighting, everything. So it's really just a beautiful cleanup of the original.
That's a nice way to kind of modernize it for, people that are the age we were when this game first came out.
Do we know Cyan is still responsible for this, aren't they?
Mm-hmm.
It's they're taking on for, a release every couple of years, like they were doing post Myst, post Riven, post everything else. It's really interesting that Cyan is taking on as much of this as they are, not to mention their Kickstarter for Abduction, not Abduction, but Abduction. They're really ramping up to do a lot of amazing things over the next couple of years.
Well, there's a little note here about the original creators. Robin Miller is now a filmmaker, and Augustus Gladstone is let's see. The Immortal Augustus Gladstone is the movie, that was just made by Robin Miller, and Cyan is being run by Rand Miller, who was the other co-creator.
And brother.
Yes.
CEO and co-founder of Cyan Worlds, originally merely Cyan. He and brother Robin Miller became famous due to Myst, etc.
And they did stuff.
Yeah.
And stuff happened.
Mm-hmm.
The end.
Ragenator in chat says, so Dark Sakura played Myst but got pissed?
I didn't really get into it the first time I played it. I've played it since, but...
I played Myst Online for a little bit. That game was kind of creepy.
I just got irritated, that's all.
Yeah.
And then I discovered Phantasmagoria. which has been a classic game.
That game was rad.
That game was creepy as fuck.
All right. Well, we'll step away from classic PC games for a minute and talk about what is coming out soon. Maybe classics for a future generation. We'll see. Loki, what's coming out in the U.S. this week?
Well, this week I'm sure you're anticipating Lightning Returns, Final Fantasy 13 on PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360.
I'm not now because I'm too busy with this fucking Bravely Default. It'll have to wait.
But all the costumes, Rob, all the costumes.
I know. We got another one coming up later in the show. I'm sure some of you heard about.
Yeah. The Far Cry compilation on PlayStation 3 with Far Cry 2, Far Cry 3, and Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon. And they just announced, of course, that the HD Far Cry is supposed to be coming out at some point, which in the European version, they get that for free. So I was like, well, thanks a lot, US. Let's see. Chokiden, The Age of Demons for Vita. It's going to be coming out. It's supposed to be, I think, the #1 Vita game right now in Japan. Danganronpa, Trigger Happy Havoc on the Vita. And also a re-release of The Witcher 2, Assassin of Kings, the Silver Edition. That's out on 360. Civ 5, the Complete Edition on PC. And that's it.
All right, well, traveling to Japan, looking at the releases there this week, things are pretty quiet on the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360. That's probably because of the impending release of the PlayStation 4 on the 22nd. But as far as this week goes, there are some things to look forward to on other systems, such as the PlayStation Vita has Phantom Breaker Battlegrounds in a limited edition that is out this week. Then you go to the Wii U, actually has a release this week, and it's kind of a big one. Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze gets its release in Japan this week, so look out for that. On the 3DS this week, you get Magi. Aratanaru Sekai comes out this week from Bandai Namco.
That is invariably Magi.
As well as a Resha de Iku 3D comes out this week. I was looking to see what this Magi game is, if it's a anime game or what. It looks like...
it's an RPG.
Yeah, it looks a little RPG-ish, maybe with some action elements, because I see 6 hits and stuff, so probably another action RPG. Let me quickly look at the PSP, because they still get releases once in a while. Yes, Akaya Akashiya Ayakashi no comes out in regular and limited editions on the PSP this week. I don't know if... Is that a movie release? No? Just a very cartoony-looking game.
Catboys or Fox Boys.
Mm-hmm. There you go. That's pretty much it for Japanese releases. PlayStation 4 is very soon, so it's slowing down a little bit before that's out.
Everyone's pissing themselves.
22nd?
Well, of course, not Nintendo, though. Things are, with Donkey Kong's a pretty big deal, so...
Well, how about the UK?
How about it?
On the 12th of February, there's Far Cry Classic for PC and PS3 and World of Tanks, Xbox 360. And then on the 14th, we have Inazuma 11-3, Team Ogre Attacks, Lightning Returns, Final Fantasy 13, Loco Cycle for PC, and Tokiden Age of Demons for Vita. That's it.
All right. Just a few more stories for you guys.
Nothing happened there.
Just a few more news stories for you guys and the classic game of the week. But first, Loki.
All right, so real quick, Ubisoft, they're doing something kind of unique. They have this brand new game that's coming out. Oh, sorry.
Uh-oh.
Hi, baby.
Sorry.
This is why Loki's still at home, guys.
And now the debut of baby number 2.
Okay, what I'm going to do while Loki takes care of that, I'm going to go ahead.
No, I'm good. I'm
good. Okay.
We plugged them up. All right, anyways, I'm sorry. Nelly plugged them up. Anyway, so there's some devs, I guess, they have this game called Reroll, which is this... I'm not sure if it's actually going to be middleware. It's supposed to be in their game. They're using this thing called Reality Sync, which is basically their scanning landscape of Earth. And they're going to take that using, I guess, these drones to basically create really accurate maps of the world and landscape and stuff. And they're actually going to put it into the game and sync it with real-time environmental data and that kind of stuff. So sounds really cool, and the game itself, I have no clue what it is. But I mean, that kind of data that they have in there, and the environments that they kind of were showing off, some of the 3D models and stuff were actually pretty cool. Oh, okay, it's supposed to be a survival action RPG. So basically, like every single other roguelike type game, it sounds like. But basically letting you play in the entire world, almost.
I'm trying to think if we've seen these types of games before. I feel like we have, like the things that try to kind of mix in the reality and so forth. Maybe not something on the scale that Loki's talking about, but...
I don't think it's ever able to be particularly as up-to-date as they're trying to do with this. This blurb, where was it? If it's snowing in Chicago, Reroll's virtual rendition of the Windy City will likewise be blanketed in fluffy white flakes. Certainly nothing... It's one of two things. If we've ever seen this in the past, it's one of two things. One, it's never been up to date, and it's never actually taking advantage of true conditions in a region of the world. Yeah, they can get the weather report, oh, it's snowing right now, and add snow and maybe a thin layer. It's either not truly as live, as close to live as this will be, or it won't be a game. It'll just be, hey, look at these characters dancing in a particular area that you can point your phone at and use the camera. This sounds interesting. I wonder why it can't scale, because it costs a hell of a lot of money to get those drones in the air and get the data off of them like this. And so they will have to fall back to generated conditions based off weather reports. I'll give it a look as more information becomes available.
Going to our chat room at live.vognetwork.com, there's really no comments on this article that Loki's talking about, but they are talking about the baby. ActDef says, plugging the baby. There's your next mobile game hit. And Ciao wants to know, does the baby use standard USB or micro?
I said Thunderbolt. It's faster.
I was down in Cupertino for a work event at Apple, of course. And we went to the Apple company store, and all of the adult shirts were normal, just Apple logo in the middle. But all of like the onesies and whatnot had cute little sentences, inscriptions on them. And the one that I remember, if I remember the wording correctly, was I'm a Mac Mini, or I'm Mac compatible, and a bunch of silly little stuff like that. So the fact that they're making these jokes just kind of amuses me, because I literally saw it a week ago.
According to Loki's Twitter, he is on the hunt for the next big mobile hit, because if the Flappy Bird guy can do it, Loki can do it, right?
Yeah, I should be able to. I mean, literally, it looks like it takes 10 minutes to kind of make something like that. I mean, I'm sure it's a little bit more complicated, but it's not that hard. And I mean, even if you give a fraction of that, like a tenth of what the guy's making, anything's better than nothing.
All right, Loki. Well, we look forward to seeing what zany game you come up with. You have a whole OLR dream game list to start with. All right.
That's too big. That's too big concept. We need to think stupider.
I see. All right. Well, plugging the baby. There's a free one from MacDeft. All right. Just don't do shake the baby, because Apple bans that stuff, because it gets banned. All right. Going to our next story here is a story about Nintendo. And it's some more comments from Iwata, who's been doing a lot of talking lately, since a lot of people are questioning if Nintendo's going to be profitable in the future. But anyway, some interesting comments from Satoru Iwata this week, saying that already talking about the next cycle of what the next console and the next DS are going to look like. Quote, last year, Nintendo reorganized its R&D divisions and integrated the handheld device and home console development teams into one division under Mr. Takeda. Also, as technological advances took place at such a dramatic rate and we were forced to choose the best technologies for video games under cost restriction, each time we developed a new platform, we always ended up developing a system that was completely different from its predecessor. The only exception was when we went from the GameCube to the Wii. In this perspective, while we're only going to be able to start this with the next system, it will become important for us to accurately take advantage of what we have done with the Wii U architecture. It, of course, does not mean we are going to use exactly the same architecture as the Wii U, but we're going to create a system that can absorb the Wii U architecture adequately. When this happens, home consoles and handheld devices will no longer be completely different, and they will become like brothers in a family of systems. Now, why this quote is gaining some traction this week is think back to last week when we had that crazy rumor about that whole Fusion thing, which talked about something similar. So these, I mean, granted, you can read a person's comments 10 different ways, and especially if you are trying to look to make it fit in the puzzle a certain way, you can do it. But it's just an interesting statement in light of the fusion idea that came up as a rumor last week or the week before.
I don't find this particularly surprising at all, and the one and only reason for that is the Wii U gamepad. It's finally, I say finally, despite its limited nature, but it is a portable device for use with a fair amount of functions of the Wii U anywhere in your house. It's limited to that. You can't take the gamepad away from the console, 300 feet and still be able to do it. I actually don't know what the range is of that thing. But the fact that they're doing this middle ground where you have something that you can pick up and walk away from your TV with, and that they'll take that and their portable knowledge and their console knowledge, this isn't that much of a surprise.
Well, and it's also worth noting that the technology in the pocket is getting closer and closer to what's available on the TV. Like, when I played Bravely Default, I was like, oh, wow, there's like full voice acting in this game. I didn't realize they crammed all that on carts now.
Are you kidding me? These things that that line the table are even better than the 3DS already. That's been the case for like 4 years.
Well, no, it was really one of those things where I was like, oh yeah, duh, of course technology's there. They can fit gigabytes in those cartridges. And if you think about it, Rob, that really isn't the first game that did that. But it's been so long since I've really sat down with a 3DS game, and most of the Nintendo games don't use voice acting.
Yeah.
So when I kind of was hearing all that, I was like, oh, wow, yeah, they can fit all that in the cartridge now. And,
yeah, absolutely.
So it's just interesting.
The fact that I can have 128 gigs in something that amounts to the size of my fingernail, that's that's even more capacity than a Blu-ray disc, a double layer for crying out loud.
Now, one other comment from Iwata this week that also is, getting some notice is because it has to do with third parties, which is Nintendo's weak area right now, especially in the U.S. But as Iwata had something to say about it, and it goes like this, quote, "Finally, in terms of third-party support, while many point out that Nintendo has traditionally been weak in terms of acquiring it, if you consider the Japanese market, it's fair to say that the number one dedicated video game system that Japanese third-party publishers are focusing on is Nintendo 3DS." So he kind of sidesteps the Wii U and says, but we do have third-party people with DS. And talks about, the 3DS has sold 10 million and so on. Okay, so no real surprise there. The 3DS has the support, but he continues. As for Wii U, opinions significantly differ among third-party publishers. Software publishers that develop content that has great affinity with audiences that Nintendo has historically been strong with, namely children and families, are still very active supporters of Wii U. I'm assuming that's a Sega compliment, but anyway. And their enthusiasm for Wii U can also be seen from the fact that they have even reached out to us to help people upgrade from Wii to Wii U. On the other hand, software publishers are not necessarily keen on making games and genres that have weaker affinity with audiences that Nintendo has not been as strong with, where making a huge investment does not guarantee a sufficient return. With regard to Wii U, we first need to create a strong foundation in areas Nintendo excels at and achieve a sufficient sales volume. If we manage to do so, those publishers in the overseas market who are currently not interested in Wii U will be attracted to the Wii U platform as they were to Nintendo 3DS. This is going to be our approach in the near future.
There's those words again. Software publishers that develop content that has great affinity with audiences that Nintendo has historically been strong with. Namely, children and families.
Right. And the big budget shooter games don't do as well on Nintendo, and that's the other half of the statement there, is that they don't want to spend all the money to develop for our platform because we don't have those people.
It's literally every argument that we make ever summed up by Iwata himself.
Mm-hmm.
It's refreshing at the same time to actually see this. You made the argument about Nintendo's online communities need to be stronger. Yes, I agree, but it's never going to happen because children and family.
I was going to say the only reason that they don't have those people on the platform is because they don't have those types of games. So you can't expect like someone that's fan of first-person shooters that it's going to buy a platform that doesn't have the type of games that they're looking for.
I would love to see Nintendo do something absolutely batshit crazy and make that game.
And thus begins Nintendo's chicken and the egg again. Somebody needs to take the first step, and it's a huge investment.
It's a huge risk, but imagine if Nintendo put out Mario Killers on the Wii U. which is a first-person shooter starring Mario and Luigi.
I could see more of like Mario Paintball or something like that, but do it like Call of Duty style.
No, that's not the game we need.
The revival of the Nerf.
Mario
Nerf
Paintball is too family-friendly. I need blood, guts, gore, and all that stuff. But Nintendo's just not. I mean, we all obviously. I'm being a little silly. Nintendo's not going to make that game. Loki's absolutely right. If they make that game, it's going to be Mario Paintball. But
Pikachu fainted.
Exactly. All right. Anyhow, let's go back to a much simpler time. We could talk this topic to death, but let's go back to a much simpler time.
What do you mean? It's not like we've done that 4 times in the last month.
I don't want to talk Nintendo anymore. That's so wrong. There's so much else going on in news this week. All right, let's travel back to a different time. Let's talk about classics for a minute. Perhaps a Nintendo classic, perhaps not. Either way, Darkstalker's going to dive into the gaming vault and find a game that she thinks, hey, maybe you should consider playing this game.
And I already told you what it was.
You did?
I did.
By the way, just real quick before you do this, Cial does have a good point. Metroid first-person shooter. There was that. And many people say those were like the best GameCube games, too. So, and F-Zero as well. So where are... All right. I promise no more Nintendo. I'm sorry, Darkstalker.
So the game is Myst, which is a graphic adventure puzzle video game that came out by Cyan, as I said in my last story that I read. Woohoo!
Deja vu. I feel like we've talked about this game already at some point.
You know what, Rob?
What?
Psst. It was originally released for Mac OS on September 24th, 1993, and has been ported and reported and ported some more and remade. We've had releases on the Sega Saturn, PlayStation 3DO, Windows, Atari Jaguar CD, CDI, Amiga OS, PlayStation Portable, Nintendo DS, iOS, and Nintendo 3DS. So you play as the stranger who uses a book to travel to the island of Myst. And then you find other books, and you basically just follow the clues and beat the game. It was really kind of a weird game, and it's actually really neat of a game. Yes. So basically, it is a first-person wander, and although it was you click a location on the screen and it drags you there, or it pulls you around, or certain things happen on the screen, and then it had a zip feature. Do you remember the zip? What it's saying is that it's an option. Basically, when a lightning bolt cursor appears, you can click and skip frames to another location. So it lets you travel quickly, but you miss important items and clues. Basically, imagine playing Mass Effect 3 in story mode, where you skip all the fighting scenes and you miss stuff.
Which is also something I can't do.
Okay.
Continue.
Okay. So you have to basically search the island, find the linking books to the ages, and each of them are their own little mini worlds. They're named Selenitic, Stoneship, Mechanical, and Channelwood, and you basically have to work on these little puzzles through each one and solve the game. So it started development in 1991. And as I said, it came out on Mac OS. So people who say there aren't games on Mac, shut up. It came out on this first. And basically, their whole point is that they wanted to have a very detailed environment, but with a basic terrain itself. The textures were painted onto color maps, and so it was the point that they were using the textures to add the depth. Of course, now... Actually, when it originally came out, it was on the Mac Quadras. Who remembers those? They were modeled and rendered in Stratavision 3D and also used Macro Model. And editing was done in Photoshop 1. Ooh.
Wow.
Photoshop 1.0. The original version was constructed in HyperCard. And each age was a HyperCard stack. So the game itself really, I think, took advantage of the technology at the time and really, I think, pushed the envelope for, something that came out in 1993. That's when anyone who was running Windows was still running 3.1 on a 486. So if that gives you an idea of what the tech of the day was like. And, of course, it has lots of really gorgeous music. It had really ambient sounds in the background. It just was, and they were also improvised on a lot of the sounds so that it would sound more like what you expected it to. For example, I like this example here. The noise of fire in a boiler was created by driving slowly over stones in a driveway because recordings of actual fire did not sound like fire burning. The chime clock tower were simulated using a wrench and lowered in pitch, which basically is what they do in movies anyway. So I think it was hilarious. It did. The soundtrack was available over mail-in, and then Virgin Records got the rights to release the soundtrack, which was released in April 21st, 1998, after Riven was out. It was, basically just like a really, really great game. It was very popular, which was, as far as I understand, a really surprise popularity. So it did have sequels. It had Riven. They came out October 29th, 1997. And then Myst 3 Exile came out on Mac and PC on May 7th, 2001, and was later ported to the PS2 and Xbox. Exile, however, was not done by Cyan. It was done by Presto Studios and published by Ubisoft. So the fourth one was Myst 4 Revelation, came out September 10th, 2004, and was entirely done by Ubisoft, with music done by Jack Wall and Peter Gabriel. And then we had Myst 5 End of Ages that was done by Cyan Worlds, and it came out on September 19th, 2005. There were also other games that Cyan developed. That was there was Uru Ages Beyond Myst that came out in 2003, and you could customize your avatar and render the graphics in real time. However, the multiplayer component was canceled, but GameTap brought it back as Myst Online Uru Live on February 15th, 2007. And it went through some changes, and it actually was shut down after 60 days, but it has been since brought back up and is free to play. There we had the different novels. There was the Book of Atris Myst, the Book of Tiana, the Book of Denis. So there was all kinds of stuff happened. And it's also stated that Matt Damon wanted the Bourne Conspiracy video game to be like Myst instead of a shooter. So yeah, there were, like I said, there were the remakes. Now we had the Real Myst Masterpiece Edition. They came out in 2000 that had the graphics actually rendered. And and then there was the Interactive 3D Edition that was the remake for PC and for Mac. And then it was a free roaming real-time 3D game. And then now we've got the enhanced version that's going to be running on Unity Engine and has the graphics from the original Myst, and that came out on Steam February 5th. We also have, like I said, different console remakes that I mentioned at the beginning of the show. It's been on various handhelds. So yeah, this game has a super crazy legacy, and that's Myst. And don't forget about the parody, Pissed.
Akuma JP in chat at live.vognetwork.com says, this is the game that all guys in my age wanted to play so badly. Some even buy the Saturn just for this game.
There were better games to get the Saturn for.
But here in this area, like everybody just kind of had it on PC or Mac, so it was just interesting. Dungeon Buster says this was still during the golden age of adventure games. LucasArts was still at the height of its powers back then, along with Sierra and Legend. So yeah, this is definitely some of the.
That was a great sentence, but what a downer.
Well, I truncated another thought he had there just for time, because it is about that time for us to take a break. Here it is, your classic game of the week, Myst, everybody. But now it's break time. We're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come back with more of Orange Lounge Radio, including your Fugle question of the week, some news on Batman Arkham Origins, and some other games as well, Disney Infinity, and your calls at 1-877-GAME-OLR or username on Skype, Orange Lounge Radio. All when we come back after this with more of Orange Lounge Radio. Welcome back, everybody, to Orange Lounge Radio, live on this Sunday evening, February the 9th of 2014, with episode number 539 of our show. Jason's here with us in studio, and sadly we're celebrating, though that doesn't seem like the right word to use, his last night for now on the show. before he heads back over to Colorado and so forth. But you're still going to be able to do the YouTubes and all that stuff, right?
Absolutely, and hopefully more. Well,
you all right over there?
Wrong pipe temporarily.
Yeah. It happens.
Hopefully,
live radio. It's
hopefully,
fun.
Minutely more timely, just because since I've been out here, my nights and everything else are just taken up mostly by social events, because I actually have coworkers in the vicinity out here.
Sure.
And I say more timely, but it's still going to be released on Saturday for reasons we've already covered previously.
Right.
But it would still be nice to have it done early in the week, schedule it for Saturday, and then not be like, fuck, it's 9 o'clock on Saturday night, I need to finish this off, I need to upload it, I need to get it out before Sunday, or at least before the show, I don't need to keep procrastinating, so,
Yeah.
And once I'm at home and I have my stuff, I have my setup, I have my, I have the things that I'm used to, I can get back into the groove and be able to just do that.
It's a
routine.
It's a great way to check out the show, especially, like old, excuse me, now I'm getting the hiccups. Especially like older episodes and like things you might have missed. Like I'm sure a lot of you missed the Super Bowl episode last week because y'all were occupied with all that stuff. So and you made a really hilarious intro and all this stuff. So you kind of do, even though yes, 98% of it is just the show over a static picture, you do kind of do some fun little things with it that make it worth, like I would really envision like somebody wanting to go back and listen to older episodes, like listening on their TV or listening on their Vita, because YouTube is like super accessible to get the file, kind of like, and be able to stream it.
Yeah.
So that's the nice thing about it. It's really easy as opposed to like having to go download the podcast or having it up in your browser. So yeah, I would really recommend like just bring it up on your TV, check it out, and I admire Jason's work, what he does do to the show.
I add all of the episodes to a playlist. There's an episodes of Orange Lounge Radio playlist. You can start from 528 and go forward with all 10 of them so far, 11 after I finish the show off. Chaptered, I have more things in store and things that I want to be able to do when I have more time, more than just I probably take about 5 hours to do a show, because it's literally listening to the entire show for timing's sake, and then also I do things like Skype line callers. I grab an icon if available. If we talk about, that looks interesting. Sorry, podcast listeners. Sorry, live show listeners. But with video, I can show what we're talking about. So when we were talking about Prism Drop, when you guys were talking about Prism Drop last week, I threw up the iPad screenshots when Jamie was first looking at it. It's
right.
Well, this is a game picture, okay. And then you said, "Oh God, the phone pictures." So I take those and started throwing them on.
Okay, cool.
It's expressive and it's really, really interesting. It takes. It's a solid chunk of time. It might even be more than 5 hours. It's at least 3 because I re-listened to the entirety of the show.
We really appreciate it, and although I know there's not a huge audience on YouTube, the nice thing about it, and this is what I told you would probably happen, it's been kind of a slow burn because it's discoverability, and we see that people are accessing the older episodes because they find it through other things and check out the show. So it works out.
It's fun. I'm enjoying it, and more and more I want to do. It's teaching me things I've wanted to learn for a long time. It's getting my mind running with things that I want to be able to do differently and do better. I've gotten a lot of really good suggestions for things that I would love to be able to do regularly. Here's hoping for the better, and here's hoping for a better routine, better workflow, and all of the improvements that come with.
All right, fair enough. Alrighty, we are going to move on with some rapid fire news here. Loki, hopefully Loki's back.
Yeah.
Hooray! And he can lead us through some rapid fire news.
All right, so Humble Bundles had some pretty good deals lately, and this week or so, they've had the Sid Meier's bundle, which includes everything from Civ 3 complete, Civ 4 complete, Civ 5 if you pay enough money, and then Ace Patrol Pacific Skies, and Railroads. And so I believe if you beat the average, you can get Civ 5 and the Civ 5 Gods and Kings DLC. And if you pay more than $15, you get everything plus the Civ 5 Brave New World DLC. So it's a pretty good deal. I haven't bought it yet because my backlog.
Yeah. You know what, though? If you have any remote interest in Civ 5 at all, you really got to check out this pack. I mean, y'all know I love Civilization. Just get it for at least Civ 4, which is a really good entry into the series, too. Civ 3, not so much, but Civ 4 and Civ 5 are great. Civ 3 is probably the weakest out of the entire Civ series. But and then there's like other stuff, too, but the funny thing is, I was looking at the bundle, and I'm like, wow, I own everything in this except for one game already. But yet I still feel the need to support it because charity and good things, and, you want to support that. So I think this is great, so...
I'm just worried of how much of a time sink Civ 5 is going to be.
Huge. Don't just have it in your library for a very, very, very rainy day. So
the average
I have
in the screenshot,
a lot of stuff for rainy days.
The average in the screenshot was about $5.50, and right now the average, which again gets you Civ 5 base and Civ 5 Gods and Kings DLC, is $9.14 as of this very second.
And it runs for the next week or so. It's 8 days right now.
So a lot of people are dropping the $15 to get that extra expansion, which is still worth it for all those games. That expansion's not that old.
$15 with a good split for charity and developer, if you so desire, and that's a whole bunch of good stuff.
Act Deft in our chat room at live.vognetwork.com says, I'm going to make Civ 5 I'm going to dedicate a whole day to play this game during my vacation game.
So in other words, you're going to get 2 rounds in.
Yeah, right. Just one more turn. Anyway.
And then this is kind of cool. This was actually a Kickstarter game that definitely passed, and it was a game called 90s Arcade Racer. And it's based off of Daytona and Super GT and all those Sega racing games. It's really bright and colorful, and he says he has it running at 60 frames per second, 720p for the Wii U, and it's supposed to be out later this year. Also coming out on Windows, Mac, Linux, and iOS and Android later this year as well. And it's being published this time by was it Nicholas, the guys that do Cave Story? So looks sweet. I can't wait to see some actual gameplay though of it, like actual moving gameplay. And then last but not least, Pinball Arcade are actually looking to develop some original tables for their pinball games, as opposed to all the licensed stuff. And they have a hell of a lot of licensed stuff, that's for sure.
Yeah, they do.
It'll be interesting to see what kind of tables they have. I'd be more interested to see them adapt like some of the custom-made tables, like the Bill Paxton table from Ben Heck, or actually even his Ghostbusters one he did, not Ghostbusters. It's like some sort of ghost hunting table or something. That'd be pretty cool.
I'm really bummed out they're having licensing issues with the Addams Family table, because I know they were going after that, and they're running into some licensing issues. It's just so, because it was based on a movie, so there's a lot of actors whose pictures are in it. So someday. I like Pinball Arcade though. It's a fun little way to kind of play some pinball games you remember from years ago when there's not a lot of tables around. Of course, if you're Dark Stalker, you have your favorite tables already.
Fucking amazing.
But I don't have a Black Rose yet.
Developed a digital pinball table that was also holographic.
I thought at first when I saw that the Attack from Mars table was in Pinball Arcade, I was like, oh, it's that hologram table's in there. No, it's the original Attack from Mars from way back when.
Lame.
Yeah, lame. All right, anyway, moving on to some other Nintendo news. Nintendo UK has noted that Dr. Mario is one of the games that's headed to the Wii U Virtual Console at some point. They don't say when exactly, but it's just slated for release. What's interesting, though, is that even though it's coming out in Europe, the product description says it's the US version of the game. But I suppose in this day and age, a high definition where we don't have the different TV specs anymore, I don't think that's as big of an issue, but whatevs. Dr. Mario, of course, this is an interesting choice because we just had Dr. Luigi not that long ago come out. Maybe you forgot, but that was out at the end of last year. I forgot to buy it. I did. That reminds me, maybe I should. Something else you can do on the Wii U, which, by the way, you can also actually do on the Xbox One or you can do on the PlayStation 4, is you can play browser games, HTML5 games. Lots of them available thanks to a site called Playboxy, which... yeah, I guess this is helping them out with a little bit of a free ad, but they do have some games you might remember, like Pac-Man, and some newer games like Cut the Rope and Doodle Jump, and they call it Chris Mines, but it's just freaking Minesweeper. So a lot of clones, a lot of cloney games in there. And y'all say Flappy Bird's a ripoff. Look at that, Chris. That's just frickin' Minesweeper right there. Anyway, you can check that out with playboxy.com. And yeah, that works on all those systems thanks to HTML5.
I will also note that is Playboxy, PLAYBOXIE.
Thank you. Yes, not the other type of bot. What is the other one? Porn?
There's Boxy that's double
Box?
E that was a Roku it was a TV attached box.
I own one of those.
Wow.
Yeah, the Boxy with a Y with the double E. There's a whole bunch of them. PLAYBOXIE.com. It's funny that we can only just now do that with console browsers. I mean, the Xbox 360 didn't even have one. The PS3's was terrible. Nice to see that finally exists this time around.
And lastly but not leastly, earlier in the show, it was brought up that I'm going to be really excited about all the costume changes in Lightning Returns Final Fantasy 13, but I have to admit, my eyes did roll a little bit in the back of my head where I could see my brain a little bit when I saw the commercial for the Lara Croft costume coming to Lightning Returns Final Fantasy 13. Do you want to see what this looks like, Darkstalker? Have you not seen this? No. There's actually like a little preview video out there.
Here's the important question.
What?
Have I bothered?
Let me show you.
Because I didn't even finish the first one. You took yours back, remember?
Oh yeah, that's right.
You already know who I am.
Well, you just need to watch the little retrospective that's out there too.
Okay, that's actually kind of cute.
Yeah,
it doesn't fit the aesthetic of the game.
Yeah, it's a little weird, like the way she's like carrying the pickaxe and everything. And her shield even has Tomb Raider written on it, which is kind of funny. But
fight me?
And then, of course, you can be in that outfit for all the different cutscenes. So there you go.
I want to see the DLC costume for Hitman, where she's bald.
But can she swan dive off a cliffside?
It is interesting seeing that whole little synergy within Square Enix where they have all those different costumes, but I was just like, okay, whatever. I just literally had that read, whatever. Don't get me wrong.
Or since, Square Enix also happens to publish Deep Silver titles, we could have her holding a dildo bat. And
Let's pray. Here's the thing. Love Tomb Raider. I'm excited about Lightning Returns Final Fantasy 13. I want to check it out. I like the demo. But it's just kind of like the worlds colliding. I'm just like, no, they can be separate things that I enjoy. Separately. And not together for an extra cost. I don't really need that.
I want the N7 armor.
That was in 13 too, yes.
I know. Yeah. I need to actually play that. I need to finish the first one because someone took it back before I was done with it.
You make it sound like sorry, I took my game back. I'm such an asshole for wanting my borrowed copy of something back so I could play it.
I was just giving you a hard time. Mm-hmm. Especially since I can buy it for $3 now.
That's true. They were all really cheap on PlayStation recently. Anyway, what do you have for us, Darkstalker, on Rapid Fire News?
I have a few things. Actually, this one's very happy news about Strider. This is supposed to be on PS4 and PS3 on February 18th, and you know we're getting that one. But it's also coming out on Steam, and that makes me super happy. And it came out courtesy of Double Helix. And also there's going to be 2 challenge modes. In addition to the main story, there's Beacon Run, that's this sort of hack and slash speed run, and Survival that sends you harder and harder waves of enemies to beat. And they both have leaderboards. So super excited. I love Strider. And then, my husband, for people who have been on the internet for a long time, used to run Neo Strider's Strider Zone. Just saying. That was my Dan. So, now Assassin's Creed 4 has Freedom Cry DLC that's supposed to be standalone. However, it is not on Xbox. It's going to be released.
Jamie, is your mic off? They're having a hard time.
No, my mic isn't off.
Oh, phew.
So, basically, Freedom Cry is going to be released as a standalone. So you basically play as Edward Kenway's first mate, Adawale, I guess. I don't know. I didn't play the game. But it's supposed to come out on February 18th in North America and February 19th in Europe and worldwide on the 25th for PC. Those 18th releases, by the way, are for PS4 and PS3. And Valve. Oh, Valve. There was a lawsuit going on with a law firm, Osborne Clark, that regarding a German court case for Valve not allowing Steam accounts to be transferred or the ability to sell used games via Steam. I refuse to use pre-owned. They're used. Sorry. The German consumer advocacy group VZBV sued, and then in 2012 there was a ruling from the European the European opinion said that the doctrine of exhaustion was applied to digitally distributed computer software. They tried again, and basically they lost. The German courts were like, dude, no. So yeah, they were shut down. So Valve wins. Yay, Valve.
Well, depending on where your thoughts are with the issue, you may not necessarily be saying yay, Valve. I like the idea of being able to have to use games digitally, but it would encourage me to buy more games digitally, but I think we've had this discussion before. It's like, where's the incentive to go to digital distribution? If the games are cheaper, then that's the incentive. Hence why most of us are using Steam, are those insane sales, right? That's why most of us use Steam. Not everybody, but that's why a lot of people kind of get sucked into it, is because, they're giving away a game for free, or it's like 39 cents, right? That's digital distribution. But asking me to pay $60 for something where I don't get that tangible everything, I don't really do that. So it'd be nice if those games I bought digital had a little equity. That would give me some. That would be some incentive that I could.
Tell me how many collector's editions of MMOs you've purchased digitally.
Digitally, collector's editions, probably 0.
I bought 14 collector's edition.
No, because I didn't even buy Mists of Pandaria a collector's. I refused to get the collector's edition. I thought it was dumb.
I got the collector's edition, but I also found it. I also managed to price match it. Fry's.
But I was like, tangible. There's my Final Fantasy 14 over there behind the Hello Kitty bag.
Yeah. So. But think about it in that way. There are people who are willing to buy collector's editions who don't want to have to go to the store and get it.
Sure.
Those people are also antisocial, and I know this for sure. No, I'm kidding. No.
All right. If that's it for rapid fire news, then let's get to the Foogle question of the week. And every week we ask a question of our Facebook and our Google Plus communities. You slam those words together, you get Foogle.
It's Radio Control.
Well, not a lot of mention yet tonight of Valentine's Day, but that is a holiday. I use that term like holiday on my little quotey fingers.
It ain't no bank holiday.
Yeah, I know, right? But it's a day that a lot of people, do things on. So I thought in the spirit of Valentine's Day, I would ask a very simple question for the Foogle question of the week this week. And the question is, what video game do you think would make a really great game to play on a date? I'm not going to be able to read all the answers tonight, but I'm going to read some of these, especially some of the shorter ones here. But I encourage you to read all of the answers on our Facebook and Google Plus communities, but for time, I'm only going to read a handful of them. Unfolded Raptor says, Flower. Enough said. That's a nice peaceful game. Would you want to play Flower on a date, Dark Sakura?
Fuck no, we're going to play Virtual On.
Nice. Fucking nice.
I've got twin sticks. Why the fuck not?
Let's see. Ian, one of our buddies from Koopa Club, says 4 Swords or any Mario platformers. I don't know, dude. That new Mario game can get people very competitive. Just saying. You might want to watch out for that. Let's see. Liam C. replied and said, Outlast. You could be that scared that you're in the other person's arms within minutes. Sin, I hope I'm saying that name right. It's S-I-N-H. I think it's Sin. Sin T says, my boyfriend and I have murder dates on Call of Duty, Black Ops 2 or Ghosts. He's in St. Louis and I'm in Philadelphia. So for Valentine's Day, we're doing 1 versus 1s on the new maps.
Those that slay together stay together.
Would you go on a murder date with Dan, Dark Sakura?
I think most of them might already feel that way.
The murder dates usually happen after we've been playing fighting games together.
For the Fallen Dreams replies and says Ilo Milo, which was that is a neat little puzzly game that's on PlayStation 3, and yeah, you can control it one, but it can also be like a co-op game. So that's working together for puzzles. Let's see. Strudels89 says, I think any fighting games are a great date game. My husband and I played Tekken 2 at a movie arcade on our first date.
Oh.
Tekken 2, Darkstalker. That's right up your alley.
Well, when I worked at my job at the arcade, Tekken 3 had just come out.
Mm-hmm.
So.
All right. Let's see. And Degenerate Johnny replied and said, normally I would say Mass Effect, but Garrus would probably charm my date away from me. Therefore, I would have to say Saints Row the 3rd or 4. Nothing says I'm interesting like a dildo bat to the face. It also gives my date something to look forward to in the sack.
Dildos?
A slow clap for you, sir, for that answer.
Mm-hmm.
Jason, can you remove your palm from your face for a minute there?
No.
Let's see. Eddie K says, considering I met my last girlfriend playing Left 4 Dead on Xbox Live, I'll go for that one. What? You actually had a success story where you made a positive friendship via Xbox Live?
No, it's not League of Legends.
Most of my interactions on Xbox Live are negative. That's did you buy a lottery ticket after that?
Keep in mind, Rob, how did Dan and I meet?
Mm-hmm.
AOL.
That's still different, though. Even the AOL chat rooms of yesteryear weren't as toxic as Xbox Live.
When
I
we had...
I would disagree
I
with
would
that
totally
in a big
disagree.
way.
You didn't
Okay.
hang out in the same chat rooms
Fair
I
enough.
did.
I had Prodigy. I guess we were just smarter.
Although every so
I
often...
used CompuServe.
I will have to say that every so often we just get a flock of us and troll some of the dating rooms.
Oh, boy. All right. Moving on. Some other answers here. Awesome Unicorn replies and says, I'd probably sit the guy down, turn on Catherine, put the controller in his hand, and glare at him until he was finished playing. Kidding. Probably something cute and low stress like Kirby's Epic Yarn.
Those that troll together roll together?
Lastly, Xenolith on Facebook says, I think depending on your partner, but any Mario multiplayer game. Also, if your date likes to be scared, then survival horror it is. Yay.
See, that's what I miss Shane being around for. When we'd get like a group of people in the room and say, okay, Shane, play Silent Hill. Play Silent Hill 2.
A friend date.
Yeah, friend date. Friend dates are the best dates, I think.
All right, we have 6 answers on Google+. Did you know there's 6 people?
There's 6 people?
All right. Shout out to Google+. All right, I can't read all of these because I don't want to be unfair. I only read about half the Facebook answers, so I'll read about half of these. Colin M says Portal 2 co-op. It shouldn't take long to find out how compatible you are and how well you two work together.
And how well you can put up with frustrations with each
Wow.
other. No, move! Portal there! No, the other one! No, you just lost it! Oh,
wow.
damn it, we have to start over.
Colin's going all in on that
Yep.
date. Either this is going to work or it's not.
This is the true trust test.
This is the test right here. Let's see. Travis H says, Little Big Planet. Although funny enough, me and my fiance met 4 years ago and put many hours into Heavy Rain and got a platinum. She's been a gamer with me ever since. Since Act Deft gave me a haiku, I can't resist. Co-op and story make for a great gaming date. Kirby Superstar.
And no one's surprised.
That's a really good answer.
That was a good.
Fucking adore
There was
Kirby
more
Superstar.
to it too, but haiku.
Well done.
If you're gonna give me a haiku, I'm sorry, I'm gonna ignore the rest of it.
Act Deft wins 1 internet.
All right, there you go. Here you go. Complimentary internet. All right.
Ooh, read the last one.
Last one from Flacco Jones, and I like this answer because it kind of touches me here too.
In a special place.
Well, no, it's just my answer is almost the exact same thing. But Flacco Jones says, when my wife and I were first starting off dating over a long distance, World of Warcraft was a great way to spend time together while still gaming. MMOs are great for dating couples who can't always go out together. And I co-signed that answer. Alan and I were long distance. We were about 100 miles apart for the first year and a half of our relationship, and we played WoW a lot. And it was the same thing, MMO. And now we still play MMOs. It's just we moved on to a different one. And we don't always play together. He likes to stay up late and do all the different fights, whereas I'm like, I'm maxed out on tomes for the week. I'm over it. I'm going to go play more Bravely Default. That might have been a conversation that happened this week.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, anything anybody wants to add to the... Speaking of super nerdy, Alan and I met for the first time, saw each other. We knew each other online for years and years, kind of like you and Dan a little bit. But we met for the very first time at a Video Games Live concert.
Oh.
Oh, shut up.
No, I'm kidding.
Katamari.
Katamari, really? Why that?
Because it's incredibly cute, has really good music, has drop-dead cymbal controls, and just fun and attractive.
I think I want to be really angry at Dan, so maybe we'll play the Saturn instead and do X-Men versus Street Fighter.
Loki, I'm dying to know what's a great date game for you and Nelly.
Plug the baby.
She doesn't like games, so
Bejeweled.
I guess. Let's see.
Excite Truck.
Excite Truck's pretty good. See, I was just gonna say the guy game, but because who doesn't like trivia?
Oh God, that's right. I remember when you got the guy game when it was on, like, you had it on PlayStation 2 or GameCube or something, and Nelly was laughing harder than anybody at that game.
It was PlayStation 2. It was such a
BMX Triple X.
That's a fun game.
All right, that's good. I love that Mrs. Loki is probably more into the porn games than Loki is. But that's awesome. That's why she's great. Part of why she's great. All right.
Nice disclaimer.
I know
there.
I made it sound like that's the only reason. That's not the only reason. All right. Anyhow, let's get into some more gaming news. Back over to Loki. Oh, by the way, just real quick, again, I didn't read all the answers. Thank you to everybody who did take the time to answer. Please support everybody and go check out the answers in full over at facebook.com/Orange Lounge Radio and google.com/plus Orange Lounge Radio. Okay, now back to Loki.
All right, so the first tweaks to the Xbox One are going to be happening in March, just before the launch of Titanfall. Of course, they want everything to be nice and perfect before that game comes out. So there's going to be some updates to the party and multiplayer options, including, I guess, some significant overhauls on that. They didn't really say some of the specifics, but it's supposed to be pretty good. And then, of course, some of the things that I'm like, why weren't these in there in the first place? But I guess a battery life indicator, something that's just, I don't know, on every single other system out there. And then also an indicator of showing how much space apps are taking up. Why the hell was that not in there in the first place? That doesn't make any sense. And also, I guess you're going to be able to use a USB keyboard to type for chat, or I would assume on the internet and Internet Explorer and that kind of stuff. So all features that were part of the last generation of systems that they're now adding as new to next gen systems. Can we say rushed?
Well, I think we kind of knew that was the case, is that, especially when Microsoft reversed a lot of their policies after E3 and kind of had to quickly, make their new OS or whatever you want to call it, the back-end software that runs on the system. Hence why there was a day one update, right? So this isn't really a huge surprise that they've got to still do all these different enhancements. I mean, and PlayStation's in a similar spot. Like, I don't want to make it sound like I'm dogging on Microsoft, because PlayStation keeps enhancing things too. Like, they just put out a patch not that long ago that enabled it allowed you to
I just don't understand why they're being added in now, like, a battery life indicator, or hey, let's see how much storage is on the hard drive, how much apps are taken up. Hell, that was something that was in the original Xbox.
No, I know that, and that's true. Those are things that were silly and overlooked. But to be fair, like PlayStation, they finally patched in the ability to mute your camera. That's kind of a big one too.
That's pretty bad.
I've been sitting on this for a while, and it has to be said because this was brought up. Software development is not progressive like that. Just because it was in a previous version does not mean it's automatically going to be there the next time. The tools improve, the libraries improve, the features improve, the power improves. But just because something was there in the past does not mean it will be there in the future.
But that would imply that all those guys at Microsoft who sat there and developed it, not one of them said, it would be nice to know how much battery life is left in this controller.
You know what they spent their time on? Big, huge, time-consuming, meaningful shit.
A battery indicator's not meaningful?
No, they spent their time trying to shoehorn Windows 8 into fucking Xbox One is what they did.
That's a whole nother argument that I'm not going to disagree with, but a battery indicator is a resolvable process. Oh, fuck, my controller's not on and it won't turn back on. Let me switch the batteries out or plug the controller in.
It's totally cool that I don't know how much space I have left on my hard drive that I can't swap out.
If you have a problem, if you have a space problem with a hard drive in the first 2 months, you're a special
okay, so
kind of person.
I get where you're going.
I'm not going to say anything at all about that I totally didn't buy a 3 terabyte hard drive just for that.
I get where you're going with that, because you're basically saying Microsoft had to pick and choose their battles. They had to work fast. They had to pick and choose what absolutely has to be there.
As does every development studio ever.
But you would think that if their original plan was that it was going to be where you have to install everything in the first place, that the indicator of how much space you have left on your hard drive would have been something that would have been kind of top of their list.
You know what, though? I believe it or not, I actually really get Jason's point where it's like you're not going to be able to fill it up in the first 2 months. So that's something that can roll out in the next quarter.
Unless you have Steam.
I can see that huge project.
Like 50 gig games.
I can see that huge Microsoft project plan with everything that they want to put in, and some things are like, do we absolutely need this right now? No, we don't need a space indicator because it's not humanly possible to fill the thing up the first.
But that's not true though, because even their updates were like several gigs in size, and the games themselves are like 50 gigabytes.
But that doesn't. But the whole disc is not copied to disk. Forza was only 11 gigs installed, 12 gigs installed, and yeah, we heard. I reported on the Dead Rising 3 being 10 gigs out the gate and 13 gigs for the compatibility plus DLC, whatever the fuck preload update that they had.
That's if you bought it physical, not digital.
Sure, absolutely. Good point. That's a very legitimate point. If you buy everything through the store, you will have greater space use than if you have disk. But I doubt, unless something like went really wrong with a hard drive space and you lost space to disk errors because it was a DOA drive or what have you, you were not going to fill up 500 in the first 2 months of the system.
Our good pal Bobby Blackwolf brings up this point, saying, Loki, the indicator isn't necessary because they're going to silently delete things you don't use to make room. You will never fill up your hard drive because it will automatically delete things you don't use. That's their excuse. I think it's stupid myself, but that's their excuse.
That's terrible.
They delete old game DVR footage.
Not the porn.
They delete
no.
installed game data that you don't play. They delete apps that you downloaded that you didn't use. It's a fucking inconvenience, and people are going to scream bloody murder when they have to re-download something or reinstall something. But it's a recoverable problem. Like I made the point with the controller. Oh, fuck, my controller's dead. Let me switch my batteries. And you stop caring. It's actually kind of funny that we say this because my controller was being kind of flaky a couple days ago, and I wasn't sure if there was a battery indicator. And I did hit the home button and think to myself, where the fuck is the indicator? But I didn't care. You know what I did? I went and I grabbed my USB cable, I plugged it into the system, and I was done. Whatever.
All right. Well, in the interest of time, I'm going to move on to the next story. Or was there more for that?
Nope.
Okay, let me quickly move on to the next story, which is about this is about a game that maybe many of you were playing, and maybe your Xbox has already deleted it. No, I'm kidding. But Batman Arkham Origins was one of the big titles at the end of last year, and apparently the support page for the game is full of players who are complaining because community manager Mercury wrote that Origins development team is going to focus on completing the story DLC instead of fixing the bugs that are breaking the game. Quote, the team is currently working hard on the upcoming story DLC, and there are currently no plans for releasing another patch to address the issues that have been reported on the forums. If we do move forward with creating a new patch, it will try to address the progression blocking bugs for players, not the minor glitches that do not prevent one from continuing to play. The issues that are not progression blockers will unfortunately no longer be addressed. Wow. So, again, there's that project plan, and we have this much resources. This is going to make us money. This is going to shut people up. This is going to do nothing. And that's how it works, folks.
Resources are finite. Time is finite. Money is limited.
Yeah, I'm not saying I necessarily agree with it.
General sense. That's all I'm saying. There's a trade-off in everything.
Also of note, Warner Brothers Entertainment is going to adapt Batman Arkham, that whole series, which is now a trilogy. It's going to be an animated film and should be released later this year. That's according to a report from The Hollywood Reporter. Don't know what all the game will entail, but we do know the name is Batman, or excuse me, what the movie will entail from the games. But we do know the name of the movie is Batman Assault on Arkham. So they're not just like porting a game into a movie, but it's going to just basically be in the universe there. So there you go. Olivia, excuse me, I read that name too quick. Olivia, I can't wait to say Olivia.
Twice.
Olivia, who directed Justice League War, is set to be the director of that film. Mark Hamill will not be Joker, but Kevin Conroy will be Batman. I imagine they're going to get, what's his name that does all the voice? Troy Baker?
New guy.
Troy Baker, right? Who does like everything for video games. I imagine he's going to do it. So,
Could you imagine if EA stopped patching Battlefield 4 and focused on new content?
I thought that's what they did.
Well,
People
that's
still
what-
didn't
that's
shut
what
up
people
about
still
it.
think.
All right, moving on. And Tiger Claw clarifies in the chat they are using the same voices from Origins in the movie, so that would imply new guy. Dark Sakura.
I don't know how I feel about this.
There's a lot of people on the internet saying that about this story.
Oh, they're not saying they don't know how they feel. They're making their feelings very well known.
There's a lot of unhappy people. Basically, there is going to be a starting over of the Sonic series. It was revealed by Sega in New York City on Thursday this past week. Sonic Boom, which is the name of the new animated series debuting with the Wii U and Nintendo 3DS games as a new franchise.
Sonic Boom.
It's supposed to be
Sonic
the
Boom,
the
Sonic
modern
Boom.
Sonic. And on top of that, though, from what I understand, it's being completely U.S. developed. So we don't have any original, or I would say the Japanese development behind it.
Who we've identified as the core Sonic team back in Japan.
And the art style just looks completely wrong. And what is up with Knuckles looking roided out, please? This is just, no. Sonic is wearing a scarf. Why is Sonic wearing a scarf?
Why not?
Is he hipster Sonic now?
Rama in chat says, you don't like Knuckles' new look? Go blame Cartoon Network. Fine. I will blame Cartoon Network. No, I don't know.
I mean, at least he doesn't eat stuff with snot like a real echidna.
I'm going to be honest. I'm going to be, like, completely blunt with this. I have a huge sense of apathy about this. I mean, really. I kind of look at this and I go, okay. My question is, are the games still going to be good? Because I don't really care. I never was into the cartoons or any of that stuff. I don't care.
The litmus test for the new Sonic, is it better than Sonic 06? Is it better than Sonic Unleashed?
I should sure as fuck hope so. How can anything be worse than Sonic 06?
You'd be surprised.
Here's the thing. They said, I understand that they're making this exclusively for Nintendo, so is this what they're going to try to sell systems with? Because the last Sonic game only sold about 600,000 units.
Well, go back
overall.
to Iwata's comment about where the install bases are, and obviously this whole Sonic reboot on Cartoon Network is kind of geared towards kids and people that would gravitate towards Wii U. I mean, it's the reverse of what y'all were saying about first-person shooters during that same story.
The whole point is you want to gravitate people that don't already have a Wii U to the Wii U, not kids that would probably already have a 3DS or a Wii U.
Well, not that many kids have a Wii U, or we wouldn't be having this problem that we're having.
Not enough. Certainly a lot more that can join the ranks.
Are you excited about Sonic Boom, Loki?
I'm indifferent about it because I'm not a big Sonic fan at all. So, I mean, it wasn't as terrible as the cartoon. Like, I watched a little trailer for the cartoon and didn't seem bad. I mean, it looked all right.
Knuckles is too big.
Who cares?
I do.
They had Shadow the Hedgehog with fucking guns. It doesn't matter.
I think my favorite comment that I read about this is that both Tails and Amy are crotch height to Knuckles.
Sonic's friends were all a little dumb anyway. Like, I mean...
Oh, that was supposed to be his girlfriend. Well, Sonic's girlfriend anyway.
His robbing the cradle girlfriend.
She's
8. No, she's 13. No, they're all underage anyways.
They're animals. It doesn't matter.
Oh, so it's a dog years argument?
Yes, they're all actually 70. Dark Sakura, the final word on Sonic Boom.
Can I give the last word to SSJ 100, Matt?
You sure.
Breaking news. Knuckles A-Rod Akinda has been suspended from Smash Brothers because he tested positive for performance-enhancing drugs. That's nice. That's nice. I like that.
That was a good joke.
Can we get a Commander Guile, cameo in there somewhere?
Sonic Boom!
That's it. We need Sonic Boom set to Guile's music.
I'm sure it's already been done.
All right. Let's go to Loki with another story.
All right, so this is kind of cool. With the whole, Oculus Rift stuff, they're actually now developing games exclusively for the Oculus Rift. And this includes now a brand new game called Valkyrie, which looks like a space shooter game and looks pretty awesome. And it's going to be exclusively on the Oculus Rift, and I don't know. Cool.
Is this the first MMO that supports Oculus Rift?
I don't know.
Well, I think other MMOs like define support, because I know they've got drivers for other MMOs, but like
first party and designed for depth and not just bolted on with the existing engine.
I believe so, although Bobby will correct me in a heartbeat if I'm wrong. But I believe so, although I think somebody else had said they were exploring it. I want to say EverQuest with a giant question mark, the landmark and all that.
That would make sense.
But yeah, the thing is though that you can play. I think you can play like things like World of Warcraft and stuff in the Rift with drivers and all that. But
you can play Metroid Prime with the Rift.
You can't read the text because the way the development kits are right now, like there's still like the resolution's not quite there, and even if it was there, it would still be really hard to read. So a game that they're going to do that could be MMO based or whatever is going to have to be designed with the Rift in mind. Like the text is going to have to be large, and it probably shouldn't even really rely on that text experience to begin with.
Jamie's freaking out.
No, I just looked at something from one of the emails, and oh my god. Oh my god.
Don't get ahead of us.
I'm not.
Don't get ahead of yourself.
Black Wolf is saying, too, it's not an MMO, this game. It's a Wing Commander clone in the EVE universe.
Oh.
So it's like a side story type thing. And I seem to recall CCP Games tried something like this with the PlayStation 3 Arcade, and that whole, like, the Dust or whatever was sort of like a side game that wasn't an MMO, but it influenced the MMO, if you will. So
this is going to make a good precursor to Star Citizen. Because as one of the stretch goals, Star Citizen intends to include Oculus Rift support, whatever form that takes, in the year as soon as that game's actually going to be out. Which is going to be amazing because Star Citizen, oh god, that game looks so good. I need to overhaul my joystick, flight stick setup arrangements.
I'm very curious to see when the Oculus is a little more readily available commercially, when it's like finished and stuff. I'm really curious to see how
actually readily available commercially, to be completely honest.
Right. I'm very
Dan mentioned he might want one.
Yeah, I'm very curious to see kind of where that goes. It would be pretty cool. I mean, I love the technology. I'm just very curious to see, like, okay, what happens now when this isn't just like a niche dev thing now, and it really starts to, get out there commercially. It's going to be very interesting. All right, one more story, and then we're going to go to the mailbag at orangelawnsradio.com.
But until then, my turn. There was a game that I crossed paths with on Twitter that I thought was really interesting and would love to talk about for a minute. The game is not out. It is previewed. If you go to necrodancer.com, you can see the teaser trailer that I believe is really the extent of their media that's out so far. It will be available this year on all computer platforms, PC, Mac, and Linux via Steam. Necrodancer, Crypt of the Necrodancer is a roguelike / dungeon crawler that adds in rhythm elements. So whether that means for attacking or moving with bonuses, that remains to be seen.
So it's a roguelike, it's a dungeon crawler, and it's a rhythm game.
Yes.
So if it was like also an MMO, it would like be my perfect game, right?
So
somebody's trying to target the Rob market.
And
basically.
if you could sing to the rhythm, it would be SingStar ABBA Rogue. SingStar Rogue ABBA Rogue ABBA Rogue. Anyways, yeah, I'm back on the show and I even take the words out of Rob's mouth. Pretty standard affair game, simple graphics, but one of the kickers is that because it is rhythm oriented, you have the ability of putting your own library, your own music library to use to influence. I don't think it's randomly generated, but it is the movement structure of the game. So not only can you put your own library to use, but you can also use a DDR pad to play it. So not only did they take this concept, but they actually ran with it. They actually implemented. They actually know a way that, well, you can put an accessory that may not be getting enough love anymore to use.
So dust off them DDR pads if they still work.
It is available for pre-order now. $14 pre-order and $15 when it releases. Like I said, going to be on Steam. I already bought it. I got the soundtrack. I'm so looking forward to it.
All right, I'm curious.
Watch the trailer. Throw the trailer up.
All right, yes,
Yeah,
I will look at this. I will look at this right now. This is from necrodancer.com. Let's take a little look-see.
That's just an awesome name.
They told me I was too young. They told me I needed more training.
She looks like Link, but with a shovel.
I told them to drop dead. How ironic.
She just dropped it. That's ironic.
I don't know how I survived that fall.
You know,
Something
Lara Croft
strange
had a
must
worse
have
day.
happened.
Heck yes, cheesy techno music.
But my pulse is beating like a drum. But my blood is running cold. I'm not sure what's going on, but I came here with a question. And I'm gonna find the answer if it kills
Can
me.
I dance? I swear I played a game like this on Ouya. Yes, Ouya. It wasn't this same like 8-bit graphic-y thing. Like it had more like Ouya style graphics, but it was something like you would move around and you would hit the buttons and attack to the beat. I swear at Ouya's E3 booth I played something like that. It does look really cute though.
I'm a sucker for this stuff. I completely admit it. It looks so much fun.
Yeah. All right, I'll check it out.
That means I also have to dust off an old dance pad. So
All right,
I
just
fully intend to play it that way.
Quick cash in. Just add 8-bit graphics. Yay! Worked for Flappy Bird. All right.
Too soon, Rob. Too soon.
Rest in peace, Flappy. I miss you. All right. No, I don't. I don't miss you. All right.
No, you keep hitting that pipe.
All right. Let's get. Well, Bobby did have episode 420 tonight. All right.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's get to the email bag. Every week you guys email us, mailbag@orangeloungeradio.com. Although we are going to change that email very soon. Probably not this. So you could still email us, but this is probably about the last week. You're going to be able to send us emails to mailbag@orangeloungeradio.com. We'll give you the new email address soon. Trademark.
Yes, I have plans.
All right. Well, maybe I have plans.
Well,
maybe Jason has plans.
I have planners.
You know what? Read an email.
I'm planist.
Are you a
planist Hollywood? No. So that was stupid.
Wow.
So Robert M sent me an email. My recent mailings have been way too long, so Duffy Bus. And it says Dark Sakura isn't off tonight, I hope. So I had to look up Duffy Bus. And oh my god, it's a furry bus that's all Duffy. And has Duffy's face on the front, and the seats have Duffy on them, and there's Duffy, so much Duffy. Oh my fucking god.
If you don't know Duffy, it's Disney's form of a Build-A-Bear.
No, it's not like a Build-A-Bear. It's Dan calls it focus group bear. So I am
fair enough.
Copying this and posting it in the chat room right now so everyone can see the glory. I want this in my life. This has to be in my life, Rob. I want it for reasons.
Fair enough.
So
thank you for making her squee, Robert M.
Making me squee way too early. Okay, we got another long one from Raw Still You Too.
All right. Well, you know, we've talked about his emails before. He brings up sometimes uncomfortable but necessary points.
I know. So I'm reading it. Greetings, guys. Your discussion about the Wii U is perhaps a bit weighted in Nintendo's favor, perhaps due to not having Loki on the show. I thought I'd inject.
Oh, here we go. Didn't I say earlier I don't want Nintendo Doc? I'm done. All right, fine.
A bit of the other side in this message. I picked up the Wii U despite having been thoroughly turned off by the Wii in April of last year while we were still worried about the PS4 following the DRM path. After catching up on the games I missed in the past months, Monster Hunter, SMMBU, et al., I found myself in the familiar Nintendo drought and came to realize why Nintendo home consoles will never be relevant to the core gaming market. While the Wii U went months without content of any sort, the PS3 and 360 were spoiled for games just everywhere. See, the issue with Nintendo is twofold. They've saddled the system with a stupid hook that they failed to explain to consumers, And since they're clearly focused on the 3DS, which I can't blame the company for, there's just not going to be the attention needed to make Wii U games at a fast enough rate to be appealing to the people outside of the Nintendo Defense Force. Already, I've got just under half as many games for the PS4 as I do on the Wii U, and I expect my PS4 collection to blow past my Wii U collection pretty fast. I'll admit that part of this is that I abhor the gamepad with the passion of 1,000 burning suns, but more importantly, the games just aren't there, and the ones that do come are extremely conservative entries into their perennial franchises. Put bluntly, Nintendo cannot support 2 consoles without third-party support, at least not as they are. And I have to go back to the chat room because it times out on me. Sorry. God damn. Okay. I'm not going to say anything about this product. It's a very good product. Where was I? Unless they're willing to back off the 3DS for a bit and focus on... No, for all their talk, Nintendo knows exactly where its bread is buttered, and unless they're willing to back off on the 3DS for a bit and focus on the Wii U, it's going to be another 4 to 5 years of nothing but your Mario, Zelda, and Wii franchises, with the only breaks in sight being X and Bayonetta 2, neither of which have release dates in sight. Put short, Nintendo's games are too few and far between to support a system without third parties, and that will damn them to obscurity in the home space until they start investing heavily in internal Wii U development. Anyway, I look forward to the inevitable Nintendo defense that Rob will mount. Seriously, guys, have a good one and have a great week. Regards, Rostil UT, who is apparently disgusting for being a brony. P.S. Shane and Extifer were painful to listen to. I'm not going to say anything about that. You know what? I love Extifer and I love Shane, so they were awesome. I'm not reading the rest.
Different strokes for different folks. As far as...
I apparently have a high-pitched voice.
Do you?
I don't know. Do I?
It's really good.
I don't know what to say to that email. I mean, to be honest, it's kind of the same shtick I'm hearing about Nintendo. I'm going to be honest, although, and I please don't take this as disrespectful, I just feel like that what he's saying is like nothing I haven't heard like 100 times already.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why it didn't come up on the show that Loki wasn't here. It's just kind of like it's the same.
They were good points.
It's fine, but also some of them I could apply to Xbox One. Just saying. Unnecessary gimmick we're all forced to buy. That's an Xbox One. Mm-hmm. Drought of games, Xbox One.
Mm-hmm.
I'd second that for now.
Now I'm not here to sing the doom and gloom praises of Xbox One, but I just will say this: since you are expecting me to be the Nintendo defendist, I will say this much. Yeah, Wii U's I'm not like Wii U is hurting. Wii U needs to attract third party people back. Wii U does not have the online experience that can hold a candle to the other consoles. Wii U is far from perfect. That's for sure. But, sure, Wii U only gets those 1 or 2 or 3 Nintendo games a year right now, but they are quality fucking games.
It's a little bit of irony that we won't sing the doom and gloom of at the Xbox division, but there are large swaths of Microsoft, of which the Xbox One is related to by nature of the online services division, that isn't making a whole bunch of money. And considering the loss that Microsoft takes on the console itself for so long, that they have to recoup in, licensing for purchases and all that kind of stuff, game publishing, they make a hell of a lot of money, but they're not always above water in the strict division-specific financial sense.
Here's the thing. At the end of the day, I'm not delusional where I think the Wii U is going to overtake the PlayStation 4 on the Xbox One at this point. Fuck no, that's not happening. At this point, it is to try and minimize the loss of money that they're getting on Wii U right now. And hopefully some quality games will bring that up and get people excited again. But honestly, at this point, I'm not dissatisfied with my purchase of the Wii U, because how else would I have got to play as some of the great, games that are on it? But it's just kind of like, as far as its success everywhere, Wii-style large thing, it's just not going to happen with this console. Maybe the next time. You know what? The GameCube wasn't a big hit either, but Nintendo didn't go under and have to make games for, Apple and Android and all this. So I just don't think... I don't think Nintendo's going bankrupt tomorrow or anything like that. It's not going to happen.
Far from it, honestly. So anyway, how about we move forward? Hi, OLR. This is KZ Borat. I just wanted to say I love the show as I have for the last 9 years. Thanks for being long-term.
Holy crap.
I wanted to inform you that there is a Wikipedia page that includes your show about a game. The wiki page for Guitar Hero Rock of the 80s under the History tab, it says that OLR was the only source to announce its release on a particular date and that you guys were right. Just thought it was interesting, and also I wanted to donate some microphones, mic stands, and some nice cables. Please let me know if you'd be interested in that. I have a surplus, and I'm always looking for a way to support the show.
Yeah, actually, the mic stands especially would be pretty phenomenal. So, and you know what's funny? Somebody else was messaging me on Facebook about that too. So, and these mics that we're using now were donated by the fantastic people over at Podculture. So,
I think this
you guys' generosity is amazing.
I want to ask you, dude, did you actually do this as a voice recording? Like voice to text?
Oh, maybe.
But just because a lot, I mean, you know I have an eye for grammar and stuff. Because I can figure it out because the last thing listed is Borhot out. And I guess that's supposed to be Borat. But that's the same type of stuff that, you know, the stuff that goes in is like usual. So I'd like to know, actually, it sounds like you're using a fairly decent voice-to-text program. I'd really like to know what you're using.
And I will just say quickly, yes, I actually did know about the Wikipedia thing because Orange Lounge Radio used to have an article on Wikipedia some time ago.
We should someone remake our thing.
Well, it was taken down because it didn't establish nobility or whatever and didn't have enough outside resources or whatever. But I'm just, I don't know. It's kind of one of those things where I don't want to sound like, oh, we deserve a Wikipedia page. But we did.
History.
We are the longest running weekly podcast about games.
Okay, Guitar Hero Encore Rocks the 80s was initially announced by EGM in January 2007 as Guitar Hero 1980s Edition. Orange Lounge Radio claimed that the game would be released in June 2007 based on an Activision announcement, and no other source has cited this announcement. Activision officially revealed the first details of the game May 11, 2007, in addition to changing the game's title to Guitar Hero Rock the 80s.
I remember that. Loki figured that out. Loki had like a presentation at his work or something, and that's why it wasn't out, because it wasn't a media thing. It was a internal, right, Loki? Do you remember that?
Vaguely.
I'm almost positive it was a distribution announcement, not a media announcement, and that's why we had it.
Yeah, I say a lot of things before they come out, but no one ever knows this.
Yeah. Well, that of all games to get noticed for, Loki, Guitar Hero Encore Rocks the 80s. I want to quickly on Wikipedia, just because yes, I like to see where this show's having an impact. I think a lot of you would too. I think we're referenced on the Ultramix 4 article. And I think we're referenced on the Beautiful Katamari article, which will not go there, but that should come as no surprise if you've been listening to OLR for 9 years.
I would love to. I would actually really like for our Wikipedia page to come back.
Guitar Hero Encore Rocks the 80s, Beautiful Katamari, Dance Dance Revolution, Ultramix 4, and Podcast Awards.
That's right. I was just laughing because it's like, oh, hey, yeah.
Yeah, there is a whole breakdown of all of the nominations and winners per category and everything.
Yeah, and a ton of those shows have pages. How come we don't get a page? We're not notable enough.
2005. This is actually a really nice table. Quick overview since we're running over it. Podcast Awards 2005 until 2013 in the gaming category. These are the winners, naturally. As of 2005 going forward. Orange Lounge Radio.
You can just stop there. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. I'm such an asshole. I'm kidding.
How about the last email?
Go ahead and let Jason have his moment.
Sorry.
Orange Lounge Radio.
It's his last show for a while.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Jason, stop making a face.
I didn't realize I was interrupting. Sorry.
Gaming 2005, and each successive name will be a year forward. Orange Lounge Radio, Podtacular, CAGcast, The Instance, 4-Player Podcast, 4-Player Podcast, 4-Player Podcast, Rooster Teeth Podcast, Rooster Teeth Podcast.
You know what's interesting, though, about all that? All of those shows still going. Every single one of them. I think is Podtacular still going?
Except us, we're gone.
We are out of here. Bye, bitches. No, I'm just kidding.
Also interesting.
That's really cool.
Orange Lounge Radio in that list is linked, but it's red, meaning there's no source article that
it was probably linked when we actually had our article.
Sure, it's obviously been around for a couple of years.
In 2005.
Okay, that's all.
Oh, really?
Get to work, someone.
Ragenator says we're referenced in Namco Museum Essentials on PSN too. Well, I know we are in the game.
You mentioned that,
but
I didn't realize that.
If we're in the wiki, I had no idea.
I did a full text search in Wikipedia, and those are the only
we've
4
also got
articles.
the President Cat thing.
That wasn't a wiki either, was it?
Well, no, but they're talking about sourced elsewhere.
Black Wolf says Potacular is off. Oh, I thought they were still doing Halo stuff. All right, well.
Okay.
Sorry to hear. Then I forget what I said. Sorry.
Bring back the wiki. Hi, OLR. I just really wanted to respond to Sky's so-called fan wink about Sega being potentially acquired / merged by Nintendo or Sony or Microsoft. Big reason this won't happen. Sega just recently took over Index Corporation, which Atlus is a big part of, and Atlus makes Shin Megami Tensei. If Sega were acquired by any of the big 3, then Shin Megami Tensei and Persona fandoms would go nuclear. Probably some of Sega's fans, too. More recently, Sega reported increased revenues from PC and digital games, so they're not going to go console exclusive anytime soon. I know it's wank, but we've got to wake up with a sore neck every once in a while, too. The Nasty Canasta. P.S. Why isn't hashtag press X to VxJasonxV trending on VOG?
That's a good question.
The world may never know.
Oh, boy. Because I haven't heard this. There's a coworker of mine that lives in the East, and every time she comes into town for events, I look forward to one very specific, wonderful reference that she's usually the first one to make, and then everybody else that gets the joke joins in. So
So to totally derail the show right now, because I love doing that, and I just saw on Facebook someone linked to an article saying Pepsi is reintroducing limited edition Crystal Pepsi.
Nope.
What?
Nope. Stop. Put the brakes on. Satire website. Go to the About Us page. Yep.
Wall Street Sentinel. Sorry.
Spreading like wildfire because people
Damn it.
people don't think it's real. I know. I was like, but then I was like, wait a minute. I have never heard of this site. This is not coming from CNN or something that you've heard of. It's coming from
But in good news, there is a fundraiser for Clearly Canadian to bring that back.
There's a fucking
that stuff was interesting.
There's a gaming press website that does that, and it's not clear that they're a satire site, and people share their shit all the time, and they're over there cackling that people keep sharing their shit like it's fact. I can't. Something like, I don't even want to say the name because I hate it when I see those articles on Facebook. People thinking they're true, but it's something like. I just thought of the name of it. I'm not going to say it.
This actually doesn't sound any bit familiar. So if you're interested, watch Twitter for a couple days.
It's
and you'll
P something. I'll say. All right. Moving on. That was it for mailbag, right?
Yes, it was.
Then you should email us. This is your literally your last chance to email us. mailbag@orangeloungeradio.com. This is your last chance to email us at that address.
Email that address.
Yes. All right. More information on that coming next week. Here we go to that email address will still be good, though, through at least the next show because we know some people are behind. We're not going to just shutter the mailbag right away. And we'll put an announcement out on Facebook and Twitter.
And at the very least, we can set up a redirect. No, trust me.
All right.
I have means.
All right. Let's get to the FUs of the week. Every week, we get angsty. Why? Because that's what we do.
Oh, this is bad. Here is justice. Here is punishment. This is fucked up.
F you to having to get up at 6 in the morning. However, this will be the last week for a while that I'll have to do it. So next Sunday, I will be on my late schedule. Booyah. I like sleep. I like sleep a lot.
My FU of the week goes to the fact that I have so much to do before this weekend. And in the rainy weather, all I really want to do is just sit and play Bravely Default all day, but I can't because I have so much to do. Like, I'm gonna die. I might not be here next week because I might be dead. So I just want to say,
not allowed.
I really appreciate all of your support over the years. And thanks. And peace out. All right. Next up, Loki.
Yeah, to go along with what Dark Sakura said. After you having to wake up at midnight, 2 in the morning, 4 in the morning, 6 in the morning.
Aww. That phase only lasts several years, don't worry.
Yeah.
Jason.
Hashtag baby problem.
Jason.
It's funny. I was gonna say I'm happy I don't have FUs, but no, I'm gonna basically fourth what everybody else has said. I got woken up 3 times over the course of the morning this morning. 1, time zone conflict, and just the fact that I like sleeping in. I got woken up a lot today, and it kind of pissed me off. But whatever, I'm here. I managed. Whatever. Yeah, sleep is wonderful. FU to everything that prevents it in any way, shape, or form.
All right, just a couple more news stories for you guys, and then we're going to open up the Skype line at 1-877-GAME-OLR, or username on Skype, Orange Lounge Radio, Loki.
All right. So Steam, trying to be a little bit more legit with their Steam OS, is launching yet another beta. This is Steam Music, and it's going to be a limited beta. It basically allows you to stream music into your games from stuff that you have on your PC. And just some more features that they're adding in there. Probably, I'm guessing at some point going to start doing other apps like Netflix and that kind of stuff. But it's neat to see how SteamOS is kind of evolving into an actual operating system.
How long until you can run Netflix through Steam? Because that's when it's truly its own system.
Yeah, that would be pretty awesome. Not sure, but they're saying that this is going to go on through, I guess, mid-January. Or I guess they announced this at mid-January that they're going to be doing some more beta tests for different things. And not sure when the final SteamOS is supposed to be coming out, or if it'll ever be final, because, a lot of these companies like keeping things in beta forever. So I guess we'll have to find out. But I'm assuming later this year, because I know some of the Steam boxes were due out, I think, later this year.
All right. It's weird, though, that this music service is only like your local file, which, is fine. That's like what PlayStation 3 and stuff do, too. But it's interesting they're not trying to push their own little streaming music service thing.
Well, that's because Steam has been just integrated into an OS. And now they actually have a way to actually play music. That's a prerequisite to being able to sell you stuff, at least on their own OS, that has to have some kind of facility for doing that. Just saying.
All right, fair enough. I do have one more story for you guys, but I forgot to set up the Skype line. Jason, would you be so kind, not to put you on the spot, but would you do that? No, would you do the next story?
Oh,
yeah. Sorry, Jason.
I hope I actually
live.
Go figure. It's the one that I didn't pay too much attention to. So let's see.
Live
how
radio.
Well
it's super fun.
This.
Just fake it. That's what I do.
I see. the irony here is that I should have just shut my mouth. I should have just. We can take calls. 1-877-GAME-OLR. Username on Skype is Orange Lounge Radio. And I would have looked at Rob. I think we're missing the prerequisite.
That's all right, young Padawan. You're still learning. You've been doing this for a few months. We've been doing it for 12 years. You'll learn to fake it like me someday.
Sometimes I do feel like that. So this article, I'm just going to apologize right now. This is literally one article that I did not read at all in this list. Disney Infinity sequel could feature Marvel and Star Wars characters. Disney Interactive Studios may be planning the sequel to the hit title Disney Infinity, which could feature a Marvel superhero and Star Wars characters, according to a report from the Wall Street Journal, which is the biggest credible source for all of the gaming news. They get it right with media. I don't know why I'm being snarky about that. Disney has posted a job listing for a games tester at Avalanche Software, which is giving weight to the sequel, and it is also listing requirements for familiarity with the Xbox 360, Xbox One, PlayStation 4, PlayStation 3, and Wii U, obviously the whole swath. There has been no official confirmation from Disney Interactive. The leaks are coming just as the corporation is due to post their quarterly financial results and will be laying off several hundred people according to said results.
Yeah, I actually asked them that very question, whether they were going to do Star Wars characters. It was even before that launched when we had a conference call with them, and they said it was something they were working on, so...
I mean, why not? With all of these franchises under their wing and the ramp up that they're trying to do, why would you not put these properties in something? Yeah. Granted, it wasn't a Nintendo title, but frickin' Kingdom Hearts. Why, with the success that has truly brought, why would you not rely on all of your properties to bring them together and make something far better than we've seen so far?
Yeah, absolutely. They're going to. I mean, they've made a ton of money off of it, so I'm interested to see if they do a sequel to the game this year. I think they are because they're almost out of DLC. Well, not DLC, but characters. They're almost out of characters. I think April is when they finally run out through all the stuff that they had planned.
Well, I'm sure E3 will show us a lot this year.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Just a couple months away.
All right. I know there's going to be a sequel. Good job. All right. Let's go ahead, and now we will open up the Skype line over at 1-877-GAME-OLR or username on Skype, Orange Lounge Radio, if you'd like to give us a call. And we can talk about whatever you'd like to talk about from tonight's topics, or maybe there's something we missed. I don't know. But, the phone is already ringing. Let's get to it. Hi, you're on Orange Lounge Radio. Who's this?
It's Shane.
Hey, Shane, what's up?
Nothing much. First of all, I'm glad that I was able to get you to love Bravely Default. I am like 10 hours into it, almost 11.
Congratulations.
It's so good. Secondly, that Raw Steel UT guy, kind of a douche. Like,
why do you say that?
I don't know, because me and Xfer had a good time, and then I told Xfer what he started to say about us, because I think Jamie censored it, and we both think it's hilarious.
Well, it's...
I hope somebody finds him in an apartment with a needle in his arm.
Stop it! That is not... Don't say that. Oh my god, I'm going to have to write an apology email. That's your opinion, not mine.
Mm-hmm. And then also, I wanted to answer the frugal question of the week because it's topical for me this coming weekend.
Oh.
So we are going to...
Details, please.
We, through some, what is the word, compromise, we are going to be playing Slenderman The Arrival, and Amnesia this weekend for our date stuff. So I think that's going to be awesome.
So why horror video games?
Because just talking about them gets him really scared. So that's fantastic. If I can just say the word Slenderman and he freaks out.
It's because it's an excuse to cuddle when you get really scared, huh?
Or to laugh really hard.
Both valid.
I thought you guys were going to play Final Fantasy XIV.
One day, maybe.
Maybe. Fair enough.
Between all the sex.
I can't believe you just said that.
Well,
my God. Video is hilarious.
This week and last, we learned the difference between Shane's filter and Rob's filter.
Is he listening?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll be sure to send him a copy of the recording.
Mm-hmm.
Well, how
Which recording are you talking about?
How was your trip back, by the way?
It was to where? To Kansas?
Yeah.
Full of snow. Snow out of nowhere. Like, my street I live on still hasn't been plowed. It is not fun to drive on.
Well, that's what you get for living in Kansas. California misses you. Come back.
All right. Goodbye. I guess I'll leave right now.
All right. Start walking. Bye.
Bye.
All right, there's Shane, everybody. The views and opinions expressed do not necessarily reflect those of Orange Lounge Radio. Why do you have to go and say that? All right, 1-877-GAME-OLR or username on Skype, Orange Lounge Radio. We got time for about one or two other quick calls here. I did see some other people trying to get through, so I'm hoping we can get at least one of them here on the air. But there is a little bit of a delay between when I give the information and when people actually hear it. I should actually pull up Twitter real quick because I know we had a couple of Twitter topics.
I queued up a bunch of topics.
All right, let me... I hate Skype on the iPad, by the way. Just so you know, I really hate Skype on the iPad. But there we go. Oh, hey, it's another video call. Woohoo! What's up? Hi, you're on Orange Lounge Radio. Who's this?
Hey, it's Dave. I called in last week. What's going on, guys?
Hey, not much. How you doing, Dave?
Good. And I now see what you guys mean when you're talking about those hand mics.
There you go. Right, now you got a visual to it. And yeah, exactly. Now we can see what Dave looks like. What's up?
Not much.
How you doing?
What's pretty good. Pretty good. How about you guys?
Good. What's on your mind, buddy?
Well, today's actually just kind of a random call. I got a late birthday present from a friend of mine, so I've got $20 to blow on Steam, and I wanted to know from you guys what you would blow $20 on right
Typing
now.
to the Dead.
Drunken robot pornography.
Rogue Legacy.
FTL.
Well, things that I don't already own, or things that you ought to own that we already have.
Things I should own.
That's what I thought.
Drunken robot pornography.
Civ 5, the entire collection is a lot of fun. I love Civ 5. Actually, there's also legitimately a part of me that's like, hold on to the money until the summer sale because you could probably get like 4 times the games. But that's a long time to wait. It's a very long time to wait. Are you pulling up your Steam collection right now?
No, I was actually queuing Twitter topics, but it will be interesting to see if Steam also does a spring sale, or if that was just the fact that what's winter in America, it would be spring in the Eastern Hemisphere.
Guacamelee.
Whatever.
Guacamelee is a game I've been spending an awful lot of time on lately. What kind of games do you like?
I mean, I've been searching for probably the last 8 months for a good RPG, and Skyrim just didn't do it for me. They've got Baldur's Gate 2 on there, but I'm like, cool, I played that when I was 15.
So
There's wrecked here.
Are you more like into the Final Fantasy type RPGs?
Ish. I actually just picked up my brother's Bravely Default pre-order today.
I was just going to say, go return your Steam card and put the money towards Bravely Default.
See, maybe I'm alone on this one. I had no idea that the game was going to be that big. I walked into the GameStop and said, like, hey, I'm here to pick up this pre-order. And all of the employees in the store kind of collectively just went, oh, thanks. Now people can stop calling us about whether or not we have this game in stock. Because this is literally the last copy in the region.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, it was intense.
Wow, I didn't know it was going to
really
be that big of a
intense.
deal either. Let's see. ActDef suggests get the Ease games. And yes, if you like... Ease? I always thought it was Ease. E-A-S-E. Like, it's supposed to that. All right. Well,
Trust me.
Whatever it is, I think that's a pretty fun series. Although, I don't know, the attacking is a little weird. It takes some getting used to. That's more like a Zelda-esque kind of game. Yeah, bump, bump, bump. This is kind of how it works. You kind of collide.
Pump them until they're dead.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see. I'm trying to think of like a straight-up JRPG-style game.
I was going to say, if you're not necessarily so much JRPG, but you're interested in more action RPG, then Borderlands.
Ooh, that's a really good one. If you can be okay with the first-person shooter element, Borderlands is actually not a bad choice at all.
It's a very good meld of the two.
The entire Mass Effect series.
Ooh, good call. Rageinator reminds that Final Fantasy VII is a good RPG on Steam. So if you missed the classics somehow, Final Fantasy 7 and 8 are there.
I don't know why I didn't think about that. That's still in my queue to be able to play.
Right? Exactly. I thought the same thing. You can skip 8 though. Alan.
Hey, they fixed the crap from the third disc.
Shade it every chance I can. Alan Alchemy suggests Hotline Miami. That's not an RPG, but that's a really good game.
You can shoot a lot of people and dogs.
So, all right. I think we've given you about 25 suggestions.
You have. You give me plenty of suggestions. And the very last thing is, so I'm still waiting with microphones, trying to figure out how to get you guys set up.
Well, it sounds like you might, which we're very lucky to be in that position. We had our emailer earlier who also was, so maybe like we get one guy to get the stands and one, because Dave was talking to messages about maybe like a USB that could pick us all up or something. So
and some people to make a down payment on a new house for me so we can build a studio in the backyard.
Right.
No.
I'm going to be, we're trying to switch studios next month. That may or may not happen at this point, but we'll see. It'll be a good chance for us to really think about some of that stuff. So
I really appreciate it.
Yeah, really appreciate it. So we'll be in touch. But thanks for listening.
Also,
cool.
Dave, sorry, not sorry about my voice, how it sounds in your car.
No, see, I love his voice. His voice is just so deep and it's so booming.
Isn't it? That's why he's the announcer. That's why I got fired.
All right, well, I might be out in L.A. at the end of the month for a photography project of mine.
We are nowhere near L.A.
Well, I'll be in the same state.
All right, close.
But we like Disneyland.
We do love Disneyland. We give that recommendation. And I would say this. We want to know, follow up with us what you bought on Steam and what you thought of it.
Will do.
All right.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Take care, buddy.
You too. Bye.
All right, bye. All right. Can we squeeze in? Oops. That's what I get for not muting it. We can do one more. Squeeze in one more call.
Okay,
I know you got to go soon.
I do need to go.
You do need to go. All right.
Because it's already past a quarter after, and I need to be in bed in 40 minutes.
That's fine. I understand. Dar Sakura, before you take off, do you have any final thoughts for our listeners tonight?
Fuck 6 a.m.
No,
I'm kidding. I'm grateful to have a job. I love my job working at LOKAT.
Cool job, LOKAT.
Cool job, LOKAT.
You're not kidding about 6 a.m. though.
No.
6 a.m.
No, but you know what? It's good because I'll start my regular schedule next week. This is our we call it nesting, so I'm going to be learning a whole lot, and I'm looking forward to getting a start on my career.
So she won't be cutting out early every time. This is like the last time for a little bit.
For a little bit, and hopefully I'll be able to keep on with late schedules.
All right,
so.
sounds good.
All right.
All right.
Bye.
Bye. Drive safe. All right. I just saw somebody calling in, but Dark Soccer was talking, and I didn't want to cut her off with a call. So try again. 1-877-GAME-OLR or username on Skype, Orange Lounge Radio.
San Fran Boy on Twitter, username SFRedhead.
Oh, are you on top of the tweets for me? Thank you.
Sends us an image from a Tumblr post. Walking My Hellhound says, if I've learned anything from video games, it is that when you meet enemies, it means that you're going in the right direction. And the reblogs and quotes and everything talk about, wow, that's incredibly profound.
It was a good quote. All right, we do have that call coming in, so let me get to it. This will be our last call tonight. Hi, you're on Orange Lounge Radio. Who's this?
Hey, this is Akdef.
Hey, Akdef, how you doing?
Pretty good. I wanted to talk about something. You're already tired of it, but it's something really curious that I saw today. While out doing stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I saw a copy of FIFA 14 for the Wii, the original Wii.
Right.
And I was thinking, didn't EA said that they didn't want to make the Wii U version because they didn't have the resources and they didn't want to do it, basically? Meanwhile, here in Mexico, I can find FIFA 14 for every console, even old ones like the PS2. The PS2, the PlayStation 2, has a version of FIFA 14. I'm not kidding.
I thought PlayStation 2 games were officially done with I thought the Final Fantasy 11 expansion was the last game.
Technically, yes, but all they did was just reskin the last year's. Well, I should say by now it's probably like FIFA 12 or FIFA 11 that they're reskinning, but that's all it is. Same with the Wii version. In fact, they even have a call out now, I think, on the Vita version. It's like the Legacy Edition or something like that, which is basically just a reskin.
Yeah. So Loki is basically saying they just changed the 13 to a 14.
That's a fair point.
That's basically. Sorry. That's basically what they did. They have I took a picture of the box art, and it has a label that says Legacy Edition or Edición Legado in Spanish. But it's something that struck me like curious because they didn't want to make the FIFA 14 version of for the Wii U, but they did make the other ones. Even though, and especially like Loki said, they just risking the previous versions to a new one, just a roster update. Why didn't they do the same with FIFA 13 on the Wii U? It's something that I'm seriously trying to understand, but I don't know.
Technically, they did that way. I think with the Wii U version, it was like it was a port of something else, I think.
EA's definitely doing the shots fired type of thing with the Wii U, I think. I do a double take at the picture of your box art. I saw you link it in chat there. When it says $799, I'm like, what? Then I have to remember, oh wait, that's not our money. That's a different country's money.
Yeah, that's pesos.
Yeah. So
it's just around $60, I think.
Jeez.
Yeah, Matt in chat said $60. Yeah.
It boils down to the fact that on systems that have already had a FIFA release, the assets already exist, the engine already exists. They may fix bugs, maybe, but they also might not. They might just leave it to whatever's going to wind up happening. It's trivial to change a game's text and get close enough body models and put them in place of new talent that may look different. Just pick the right race and get the face close enough and whatever. It's detailed enough as it is already. The Wii U is different from the Wii. It requires different work, and it requires additional work to perform. Unfortunately, that's their justification, and that's where this is coming from.
Yeah, I do understand that, but seriously, they're doing the. I still get the Wii are still selling some games or releasing on a minimal amount, but the PlayStation 2, seriously. They released FIFA 13 and now 14 for the PS2. It's the only game that's getting released on that console. It's something that if they're going to put resources on something, why not the Wii U? That's my question, basically.
There's still a lot of PS2s out. There's more PS2s out in circulation than there is Wii U. But it's
very true.
It is.
That's true.
It is a strange call, but EA's EA's clearly having a hissy fit with Nintendo, so it is what it is. All right, Act Deft, I gotta let you go so we wrap up the show. But thanks for the call. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Of course, anytime, buddy. Take care. All right, there we go. Bye-bye. And thank you very much to all those that called tonight. I'm sorry if you didn't get through. We are going to close up the Skype line for now. But try again next week. Or send us an email. mailbag@orangeloungeradio.com is the place to send us an email as well. Do we have other tweets?
The quick Twitter topics. Tiger Claw sent us into Sony Pictures Entertainment is negotiating with Seth Gordon to direct Uncharted. The movie all up in the air, of course, but obviously a lot of excitement coming around for that. A protest game puts Russian President Vladimir Putin in gay-friendly Sochi Winter Olympics competition. I'm sure I don't need to go too much into the backstory of this. Russia had a big anti-gay. I don't remember to what extent it was out in the media, but they had a big kerfuffle about that a couple months ago. Flash forward to Sochi Olympics, and it's kind of a big deal. And that's related to this. That's also why Google has their, for lack of a better term, pride doodle still in place. And I expect it probably will be throughout the entirety of the Olympics. If you actually go to google.com or use any of the Google apps, you can see it right there front and center. It's very resounding. It's very good of them. And then I already read the Twitter, the Tumblr rather, the Tumblr post. One other thing that I really, really wanted to get out is that I read an op-ed this morning on IndieGamerChick.com written by an individual named Kathy, who's apparently been doing this for about 2.5 years. And she basically, this article is called The Indie Ego. It's still the most recent one on the site, again, IndieGamerChick.com. And she really breaks down the indie community, how things have been portrayed by the very prominent and vocal members that people may know, such, hate naming names, but let's be completely honest, Team Meat, Jonathan Blow, Phil Fish, i.e. Indie Game the Movie, and a lot of other developers that you just see, Notch, Magnus Pearson, crap, I forgot his last name, Notch.
Marcus Pearson.
Yeah, there you go. Thank you. She really takes the indie mentality, the good side and the bad side, and again, this article named The Indie Ego really breaks down why you should not be insular and exclusive as an indie, because it does a really big disservice to you. It's a great article. Please go give it a read. It was incredibly well written. Kathy, well done. It came across in a retweet on Twitter. I sat down, I read the whole thing. It was absolutely fantastic.
All right. Is that it for Twitter topics?
Not at all related to anything, but
Okay.
a couple of my coworkers have retweeted this thing, San Francisco emergency scanner. San Francisco Police Department responding to reports of a homeless man operating a cherry picker on the sidewalk. In the rain and all of the weather that's
He needs some cherries.
I chuckled, and I was very sad at chuckling, and yeah, I just had to get that out there.
Twitter.com/OLR if you want to send us a tweet for next week. But unfortunately, Jason will not be here to read it. Before we get to the end of the show here and I go around and get everybody's final thought and so forth, I just really want to thank you, Jason, for all you've done for Orange Lounge Radio.
Absolutely.
I mean, God, I'm making it sound like you're leaving, which you are and you aren't. We all know that. But again, we would not have a website if not for Jason. We would not have the YouTube thing if not for Jason. And I know you guys have only really heard him for the past 3 months, but there's a lot of soul to this show that is thanks to Jason. So I really, really thank you for your efforts to help make OLR what it is.
It's been a good decade, and it's been even better last year.
All right. Amazing. You are welcome back anytime. There's always a chair here for you, even though this studio might not be here. Wherever we are, you can just drive that cherry picker on over and have a seat at the table with us.
You know that's what I drove in here today.
Because you won't fly, so you have to drive something. All right. In all seriousness, Jason, thank you for being here. Anything you want to promote of your own self-worth or what have you before I get your final thought and all that?
I'm on Twitter, and I tweet way too much random shit. Sometimes it's meaningful. Once out of every 100 maybe. Twitter.com/VxJasonxV. Easy to find. Say hi. Whatever.
All right, and you'll still be you calls and other things. So it's not the last.
I call. I interject my opinion into the video from time to time.
You'll be back in like a month. I'm back.
I got snowed in. Sorry. Can I be here for another episode?
Yeah, anytime. Anytime. It would be fun. It would actually be hilarious at this point. We give you this big fanfare goodbye, and then like in 2 weeks you're back.
What's up, guys?
It's like you come back before Loki's able to get back.
That would be some kind of irony.
All right. A last final thought for our listeners tonight?
Keep warm, stay safe. It's been a great 3 months. I hope everybody else agrees. Just in general, have fun. Enjoy your games.
This is a good point for me to always say what I do every week, as much as I'm begging. But for real, we don't ask for any money to do this show. If you like Orange Lounge Radio, please help spread the word, help grow our family. Tell a friend or two about the show. A nice review on iTunes or Stitcher goes a real long way, and we just really appreciate it. I know we said a lot about reviews, but no, seriously, because of that culture we're in, those help get the promotion and the exposure, and it goes a long way. And yeah, it helps us stand out amongst all the other corporate-based shows that are out there that have a lot of money and built-in hits to be able to fund that stuff. So thank you very much. Appreciate it. And thank you all for being here and listening and staying with the show all night. Loki, I haven't forgotten about you. I can't wait for you to be back in studio. But, again, take all the time you need with the new baby. I'm glad to hear things are going well. Loki, do you have any final thoughts for our listeners tonight?
No, I'll try to be working a little bit more on the Minecraft server this week. Although we haven't had a lot of people commenting in threads and stuff, but I've been doing a lot of tweaks.
I haven't been on in a while, honestly, but I did finish my underground tunnel thing I was building, so I got to find another project to do. So.
Well, I'm working on. I may test out trying to do. Was it Bucket Forge or whatever? It was MCPC Plus or something, and that basically allows you to add Forge mods, which are new graphics and stuff. So it's a little bit more complicated, but you can have like totally new mobs, totally new blocks, totally new things that aren't normally in there. So it'll be interesting if I can get that to work.
Well, come join us on the VOG Minecraft server. All the details are at vognetwork.com in the forums. Some kind words for Jason as well. I don't know if you saw that in chat, but ActDef says, Jason shall not be missed, considering he now does the intro voiceovers. Oh, yeah, I missed the most important part.
And the outro.
That's right, and the passphrase.
Yeah, and the passphrase.
For the podcast people.
Folks, yeah.
Raginator says, VxJasonxV needs his own VOG show. Well, I hope he will find something he's passionate about and send us a pitch. It'd be great.
Ideas.
All right, ideas.
Ideas are brewing.
All right, cook them up. Let them simmer. Let's hear it. All right. Loki, we'll see you next week, although it might be via Skype again, but have a good week, okay?
Hey, you too.
All right, and I guess my final thought is, again, I could be dead next week, so just, oh God, wouldn't that be sick if something really did happen? No. Here's the thing, I am stressed, like, so much right now, but it'll be good. Things will be good, and then there's so much to look forward to this year. There's a lot of great things in store, and yeah, I'm in a happy place, and I hope you guys are all in a happy place as well. Thank you guys all for your support. It means so much. We'll be back here to do it again next week. Have a great night, everybody. Bye.
You've been listening to Orange Lounge Radio. Orange Lounge Radio is a production of OLR Studios. To join us for a live show, tune into VogNetwork.com Sunday nights at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. The views and opinions expressed in this program do not necessarily reflect those of the staff of Orange Lounge Radio or VOG Network, but you know they were all still true. See you next week.